Sometime within the next 20 years, quite possibly within 10 years, we'll have super intelligence, something better than us, and that will be able to do any new job that's created. It'll be all of them. The big tech companies are thinking, if we can be the first to get really good AI, human-level AI, we can make a lot of money selling AI to companies so that they can replace workers. As far as I can see, that's the only place they can get their huge investments back. They're not thinking about the social consequences of that. They're assuming somehow the state will take care of it, but I don't see how it can.
What does all that mean for youngsters trying to position themselves for the future? Geoffrey Hinton's got ideas for them, and you'll hear those on Monday.
And a recap of today's headlines. The New York Times is reporting that President Trump is reviewing an option to send U.S. troops into Iran for targeted raids. President Trump has nominated banking exec Kevin Warsh to head the U.S. Central Bank. Like Trump, Warsh says interest rates should be lower. Former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with his reporting during Minneapolis ICE protests. That's Feature Story News. Tony Waterman reporting.
Everyone in a bustling Chinese parade is attempting to elude pursuers. Newly discovered cave paintings suggest early man was battling a lot of inner demons, and a xylophonist is shredding it. This Tuesday, FBI officials disclosed details of a disturbing al-Qaeda plot to just kick back, relax, and savor the inevitable collapse of the United States. Intelligence agencies confirmed the massive coordinated plan involves terrorist cells across the globe, training specifically to take a load off and unwind as America's political infighting, class divides, moral indolence, and environmental self-destruction gradually tear the nation apart.
Our righteous warriors will devote our time to relaxing and really soaking in the infidel self-destruction. America's cities will be reduced to ruins. The economy will come to a standstill. And we, the blessed of Islam, will kick back, put our feet up, and enjoy the show. It's going to be great.
This is the Onion News Network.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and that means that you can call in to bring up whatever is on your mind. That number is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And with you on Free Talk Live, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Mr. Penguin.
And we have lots of different things to talk about. We do already have a caller on the line. I know that a lot of people, I think, are going to want to talk about this Epstein stuff. Let's see what Olu from Virginia wants to talk about.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking the call. I want to talk about gun control, one of my favorite topics.
Okay. In America or somewhere else?
Yep. In the United States. I heard a few episodes ago, maybe last episode, somebody was talking about the case in Hawaii that was going to, I guess, the Ninth Circuit, the Federal Court of Appeals, and I think they affirmed that ruling. And it was Hawaii's interesting new gun control laws. I think they have two. I believe one I heard about a few months ago is a state law that says you need affirmative permission, like in writing or something, like explicit permission from any property owner before you can carry a firearm on their property. And that's just another creative, unique way to get backdoor gun control in, because it's not feasible to ask every property owner before you enter them for like explicit written permission to carry a firearm. So it would make it essentially impossible to carry a firearm like outside your house or to any property besides like the street.
Yep.
And this, I think, the main reason or one of the reasons why this backdoor method for gun control happened, and New York's been doing similar backdoor methods for years with sensitive places and stuff like that, is because the Supreme Court ruled like 2-3 years ago now in New York State RPA versus Bruin that I believe states and local governments cannot have like an outright ban on firearm carrying, and they have to provide permits to people unless they can prove a historical analog, like a historical tradition back in the ratification of the Second Amendment or 14th Amendment of a similar kind of restriction, such as you can't take firearms and shoot people or give them to babies, because historically in the 1790s, people were not allowed to shoot people or, give guns to babies to carry. So those things were probably around in the 1790s, therefore they can have restrictions, but there were no magazine limits in the 1790s, and therefore there cannot be magazine limits now. Like that's the theory.
I suspect you're overstating it, that there was a law restricting babies from having guns in that era.
Yeah, no, probably not a law, maybe a tradition. But
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's a good example, but that's the theory.
Yeah, I mean, just because people didn't give babies guns doesn't mean it was some sort of tradition either, right? It's just like, guns were not cheap. Like, you wouldn't be just giving away like a gun to a young person. Maybe you train them or something like that for educational purposes. But like,
and I don't think there were no gun control laws that I know of actually in 1790. The only things I think in the case Bruin, or maybe in Rahimi, a different Supreme Court case about guns, the only things that the pro gun control side presented were surety bonds and going armed laws, which were really after the fact things. Like if somebody was convicted of like a violent felony, like shooting people, then they could be prohibited from like they would need a surety bond, which is essentially like a bond, their friend or family member providing a bond stating that they will not commit that thing again, or if they commit a similar violent crime again, they'll pay certain money or something, or they'll be punished. That's like a bond after the fact. And going armed laws were saying people cannot essentially be going armed, open carrying, and openly threatening people. Like that would be called, the modern day analog would be what's the word for
brandishing?
Menacing or brandishing. Yeah, brandishing.
Yeah.
So like that seems to be what the going armed thing. So those two things they referenced in saying those were similar to restraining orders in current day, even though they're extremely different than proactive ex parte restraining orders or prejudicial, preemptive, whereas those were after the fact or whatever. But yeah, that was, I wanted to mention the Hawaii thing, and I think there was some comment that I wanted to correct about Bruin, because pretty much that was the case. Bruin, in Bruin, New York State and or New York City did not allow people to have firearms pretty much ever, and that case was tremendous and amazing for gun rights in general, because it made it like essentially everyone has to be a shell issue, and unless there's a reason not to give someone a permit and let them carry, you have to give them a permit. The issue is New York right away the next day said, all right, we'll give you permits and you can carry wherever you want except for sensitive places.
Oh yeah, and very vague on purpose.
As any place that's like a government building or school or church or public place where people are, where there could be kids or adults or men or women or the public or a lot of people or outside or gather, or people can be upset. So every place in the world is a sensitive place by the definition of that statute. You can't carry anywhere.
And it's so vague. It's like I could just say that my house is sensitive because I feel like it. Like, it's just too vague.
Yeah, I think they defined it in the statute, but it included like pretty much every place.
Yeah,
so I think
it's probably what you would describe as overly broad, and at that point it's like it's just arbitrary, right? Mm-hmm. They can just go after whoever they want selectively, for reasons that have nothing to do with the reason the law was intended. Mm-hmm. So political persecution, basically, and there's lots of laws like that. So.
And Alu, you know what? I don't bring it up enough on the show. I forget, but you remind me just for being Alu. You didn't say it, but. We need to always talk more, and I don't know if I've ever told this to Chris specifically or had this conversation with Mr. Penguin specifically, that New Hampshire has the worst red flag laws in the Union. Did you know that?
I don't disbelieve it. I know they passed it not that long ago, and it was terrible.
What they are it's in the, what is it called, Alu? The thing that I got against the freaky guy that came to my house. Restraining orders.
Yeah, the restraining order laws under, I think, RSA 173. It's the restraining order laws, and if you read it, it's exactly a red flag law, and it's the worst in the Union.
Yeah, we actually know somebody who was, I think, impacted by it. Or no, maybe not.
No, yeah, if you're talking about an ex-host who had a crazy girlfriend.
Yeah.
That person was absolutely affected by that.
Yes, yeah, but I don't know if it was specifically that law, because it was So what happened was basically there was a false accusation made by the woman who was crazy, basically.
Yes.
And she has a history of it, basically.
A history, and I went to the hearing. Did you? I think you did.
I didn't know you were there. I don't remember you being there.
Maybe we're not talking about the same person, because this is a pretty tale as old as time type of thing. I don't know if it's really wrong for me to say it's a matter of public record, right?
I mean, go ahead and say it. I'm not that particularly concerned about it. I'm saying his name. I don't think it matters. We didn't. I don't think we published anything on it or anything like that. But
yeah, maybe it's not public record
it was
too,
kind of
because
personal,
it's
but
civil. So this one person we know had a girlfriend up in the North Country. They lived together. She and him fought all the time. They broke up, and she took pictures of like consensual spanking marks, and
it was a single mark,
and it was clearly
it was many years prior. They broke up and then they got back together.
Yes, that's what's even crazier about it. And he didn't want to go hard against her in court, but actually, you know what, all that is irrelevant. What I'm trying to say is he was absolutely affected by this, because he got his guns taken away just for the accusation,
right? And that, just to be clear, that wasn't the red flag law, I don't believe.
It is. It's just not. It doesn't have that name. It's the
same thing conceptually, but I don't.
That's basically what it is. It's conceptually the same.
Restraining orders, but I don't care what the title is. The title doesn't matter. The title is RSA 173, Orders of Protection.
So in his case, I think it had to do with like a restraining order. So
yes, and that's what we're saying.
But this predates the restraining order. It's somebody makes an accusation to the police, and the police can just go and take them, I think, right? Is that not?
That's the ex parte restraining order. They call it an emergency order of protection.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So it sort of just extends the restraining order.
I also have some personal experience with this, which some people didn't know about. I had to get a restraining order on someone. It was my last ditch effort, because this person was threatening me and other people here at the house, and also coming and blocking off my front door. We had to chase him away with a gun, and he was threatening me, and the police would do nothing. We didn't go to the police first. We got a private investigator, and one thing he did was go talk to the police himself. They told him they wouldn't do anything about it. He said, "What is it, the Wild West in Keene, New Hampshire?" And the cops made fun of him. They're like, "Yeah, it's the Wild West in Keene, New Hampshire. Yeah, you're letting somebody who's threatening me absolutely plausibly, or is that the word? It's believable he could hurt me. And coming to my house very often, and he was crazy. He was saying that Ian owed him $60 billion, and Ian didn't even know him. But anyways, I got a restraining order on him. So this inside information I'm talking about was when I went to file it, they ask you, do you want us to take this guy's guns? And basically those words, and you can check yes or no. I put no, and then the judge gets to look at that and decide, do I want to take this guy's guns away? And they overrode me. And I have all this record. I could prove that I didn't ask to get the guy's guns taken away. He didn't have guns, and so he didn't get his guns taken away, but he absolutely, when he got served, they would have taken his guns that day, because the judge just overrode me and wrote, I'm going to take his guns away.
And the issue is this is ex parte and requires zero accusation and zero evidence, no burden of proof.
Yep.
Not even an accusation of any actual wrongdoing or stalking. All it requires is literally filing the form and therefore, essentially asking for the order, and the judge, they rubber stamp the initial order every time. It's a red flag, gun confiscation, among other things.
It could even be that the hearing happens, the judge is like, yeah, this woman's crazy, I'm not going to give this a restraining order to her, but it'd be too late. The guns already got taken away. They went to the person's house when they served him, took his guns away. They go in your house and take your guns away. The judge also ordered I get any of his pets. Just side note, I didn't ask for any of his pets.
I'm sorry, what?
I have the paperwork, and I used to think it was saying that I get his kids, but me and Olu went over it, and I was like, oh, never mind, this is saying I get his pets. That's better.
That's weird and messed up and
makes
creepy
no sense.
And
Angelo is joining us.
No, so why? Wait, but the pets. That doesn't.
If it was jointly owned, or if it was his.
Remember, I went over this with you. It said any jointly owned kids, and then any pets, and it was just really badly written.
Yeah, that's probably for
So it didn't include the kids, but it did include the pets.
Well, no, that just makes sense for like if it's a domestic abuse.
Exactly,
Yeah,
but they
probably if
wrote
you
it
live together.
badly
Yeah.
in this, and it shouldn't have been checked
Yeah.
because I didn't even say I had any kids with this person, and I didn't have any pets with this guy. I didn't know who he was. Yeah,
But yeah,
it's
the
crazy.
moral of the story is anybody who supports due process or freedom or gun rights or anything would definitely benefit and would enjoy reading Presumed Guilty and The Pocket Guide to Killing Gun Control. They're both on Audible now as well, so Kindle, Audible, paperback. I could discuss all this, and the gun control book is very short and simple.
Nice. I agree, and I really want more Granite Staters to know that we have bad red gun laws. Or sorry, red flag gun laws.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's something we need to get rid of. And it's funny because we actually have some of the best gun laws in the country.
I know, otherwise.
Other than that,
But
yeah.
again, the Penguin, I'm sure you guys understand this, strategically, because it's embedded in the restraining order statute, nobody knows about it, knows to find out about it. They can't fight it. Politically, it's the hardest political challenge in the world is messing around with a restraining order statute.
I tried talking to
Nobody wants to dare touch it.
some Republican, but Liberty Republican state reps, and they said that the Democrats will absolutely be like, no, you guys are trying to take away women's protection.
Yeah, of course.
And it's just a no-go. Even like the biggest Liberty reps were like, no, please, we're not going to put that in. That's
I get it. It takes a lot of courage. And remember, I was at that hearing where I think David Love, who's a conservative state rep, I think he was the victim of a restraining order like this, or red flag law, and he had a hard time getting his guns back, and I think he testified in favor of it, but very few others did. Me, him, maybe Matt Santonastasso. Anyway, there was a DA of the county attorney of Merrimack County and his assistant. They came and testified, and I got a video of it. There's a short video on Liberty Block on Odyssey and Rumble. They pretty much said, if we amend this, then people will be able to kill their wives and beat their wives and abuse their wives, and they'll have no recourse. And I'm like, this
What are
is
you
just so pathetic
smoking?
and
Like,
ridiculous.
seriously.
And I'm like, assault is still a crime. I'm like, murder and threatening and domestic abuse. It's still a crime. All we're talking about is the ex parte red flag gun law that is made without an accusation or evidence and is granted ex parte. We're not talking about, they made it seem, again, they were trying to trick us because they were disingenuous bastards. They were trying to make it seem like a man can beat his wife and shoot his wife and kidnap and torture, and there could be no kind of prosecution for any crime.
It's ridiculous.
If we amend this law.
Yep.
It's absolutely preposterous. It's disgusting.
Yep. It's scary.
So that's what we're up against.
It takes a lot of courage to change this, but thank you so much for the call, Alu.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else
Thank
for
you so
us?
much. No, that's all. I got to run. Thanks.
Yeah,
People should definitely check out Presumed Guilty, and I forgot what he said his gun control one is, if he's still there. I don't know if he's still there.
The Pocket Guide to Killing Gun Control.
Thank you, Alu. You can just look that up on Amazon and Alu Axelman, and it'll pop up. And thank you for the call. The number to call in to get in on the conversation with us is 603-283-6160, and I'll do it again. With you on Free Talk Live, we've got me, Bonnie.
Angelo. And Miss Penguin.
Did it again since we got a new member joining us. So we have a caller on the line, another caller on the line. Dave Ridley in Colorado, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
A series about the history of the Free State Project.
Oh, cool. Do you mean Carla's new series?
No, mine.
Oh.
but it's just a talk radio series.
I'm
just
excited.
me calling talk radio. So in 2022 and 23, all the way, I guess, to 2022 through 24, I would call in a couple times a year to try this year in Free State history. And so I'd bring people up to date, or just remind them of the things that happened in 2003, 2004, that sort of thing. Well, we managed to get all the way through 2025, and there was so much other news that I had to call you about that I never got around to telling you about the interesting things that happened 20 years ago to the
Wow.
Free Staters.
So let's hear them.
2006?
So,
Think about it.
2025, or 2005 was most interesting in relation to the Free Staters in the sense that it kind of became the year that they discovered civil disobedience.
Okay.
2025?
And
No, 05.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, he corrected himself. He said 2005.
I'm just trying to follow our history 20 years ago and bring it back to life. But there was this guy named Mike Fisher, and he was a very dedicated Free Stater, kind of like a blue giant. I call him a blue giant because he was super effective while he was in state, but he was only in state for about 2 years. And he called me one day and he said, I figured out what I'm going to do. I know how we're going to do this. I'm going to do what Gandhi did. and so he called the board of barbering. He said, "I am going to deliver an illegal manicure in front of your offices on the following day."
Nice.
And he said, "If you don't arrest me, I'll come back the next day and continue doing it every day until you arrest me."
Wow.
Or I run out of people who will accept manicures. And so I make it sound kind of funny, but Fisher was a very serious and somber guy, and he was young. He couldn't have been more than 21, I think, when he did this stuff. And so he showed up, and sure enough, they called. The bureaucrats came out and said, "You're not supposed to be doing this. You can't do this, and we're going to call the police." And he said, "Okay." He just kept on running that Emory board, and he had a gal that had volunteered to.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, I want people to do this, and they do my nails.
This was in Concord, New Hampshire, and so then the police showed up, and they're like,
"Do we really have to do this?" Right? Like,
and the media was all over it. You know, the main TV station was there, and the TV station was like, "We're going to do an investigation." And so they did a detailed study of how do you file someone's nails safely. And they asked him all these questions. Now, what if this happens to the nail? And what if you see this, or what if you see that in their nails? And they just they interrogated him, but the cops were just like, "So you arrested him? How does that feel? Okay, thanks."
This is a masterclass in how to make them look stupid for the laws they have.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, what's the worst that's going to happen? They cut your little bit of your finger off or something, and you have to go to the hospital or something.
Well, then I'm suing you. Then I'm going to sue you.
There's still liability here, guys.
I got an infection from a nail place here in Keene.
Okay.
Just never went back. I just do my own nails.
Okay, and, fair enough.
They have a license.
And they were licensed,
yeah.
right? So it's not like it stops.
Well, I'm also thinking most of the nail salons I've seen, those old Asian women aren't going to tell you if there's something wrong with your nails anyways. They're just going to talk amongst each other and make fun of you for it.
Sure.
Yeah. They're not going to be like, "Oh, you need doctor." No, they're just going to laugh at each other each other and make fun of you.
That's not even, they're not doctors. You wouldn't expect them to tell you that, you need to see a doctor. I mean, if there's something wrong with your nails, you got fungus growing in them, go get some sort of thing to kill it or see a doctor, right?
Working on you if you have a fungus in your nail.
Oh, I would hope so. But that you would think that
for their own good. I mean, not because of the law.
Right. You'd think.
My grandpa did. He would go. He had. He got it while he was in the military in the 50s before they knew anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So his toenail was yellow, and he'd go down to the dang nail salon, and they would work on his feet.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
To help.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's little
helped him with treatments and whatnot.
Yeah. My thing was my friend. Well, maybe it's not that big of a deal. How I got a toe infection. I did everything she told me to do when I got home, and slowly it just happened. But I didn't go and try to bring the state down on this woman. I just thought
you guys are making me think that maybe we need some of these licensings. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, honestly, these are all things that they're not big enough of a deal to have a license in the first place. But to whatever degree that it's an issue, it's a liability issue. And the thing is, a license doesn't solve the liability problem. That's why companies get insurance. They get bonds, and so you're, whether for example, you wouldn't necessarily think somebody, I don't know who, I'm trying to think some of the examples, but maybe does tree work would need insurance, but no, they actually do if you think about it, because if the tree falls on the house, or
on the house.
They cut into maybe they're digging out a tree, right, maybe a small bush or something like that, and they hit a water line or some sort of sewer line. Well, that could be a $500 bill right there, and so yeah, I mean, it's somebody else has to come in and fix it, and it's the home. I mean, technically, that doesn't necessarily. So the interesting part about that actually is I'm not sure that there's a law that mandates they have insurance, but one of the things they always ask you to do, or they tell you to do, is to check to see if they have insurance. It's not whether they're licensed; it's whether they have insurance before you go and hire somebody to deal with your trees, basically. So.
I agree. It's just having insurance fixes this.
Right. It's just basic consumer kind of knowledge.
Well, I wonder how much the beautician schools lobby to keep these things there.
It's a lobby. Yeah. Oh, it's a huge
that's what
industry.
I'm
It's a
saying.
whole
Yeah.
lobbyist
Yeah.
industry. And the reason they want these licenses actually is it's actually standard in like business school to teach this stuff. But once you've established an industry, you want licensing, you want barriers to entry because it keeps out your competition.
Right.
Now, usually
like braiding in hair, like especially like black girl hair.
Oh, yeah.
Black people hair.
Sure.
They have licensing for braiding. It's like, what can go wrong with braiding hair? Come on now.
It's ridiculous.
If you have more to say, you can stay on the line. Dave, really, I love this series. It's a really awesome idea. And I did not know anything about this Mike Fisher guy or this specific activism. That's really inspiring. That's so good. I'm so excited to hear if there's more to say about it. More Free Talk Live coming up. Either way, 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up.
When New Hampshire peacefully leaves the Union, will we have to take on some of the national debt? Let's be clear, that's not national debt, that's federal debt. Debt that was incurred by a bunch of people that we didn't elect, forcing policies on us that we didn't want, and 2.5 million unelected federal bureaucrats. According to Professor Matt Quartrup from Coventry University and the foremost expert on independence referenda, the rule in international law is that political divorce is not like domestic divorce in that there is no alimony due and no obligation to pay the debt incurred by the larger organization. New Hampshire's government is a paragon of fiscal responsibility compared to the United States federal government. We didn't create the national debt, we didn't consent to it, and when we declare peaceful independence, New Hampshire will not owe a single solitary dime of federal debt. You can learn more about how we can peacefully divorce D.C. at nhindependence.org and join the movement at nhexit.us.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Tony Waterman. According to New York Times sources, President Donald Trump is reviewing an option to send American forces into Iran to carry out raids. It's unclear if those raids would target government officials or even the supreme leader. The option carries new weight after U.S. forces captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro earlier this month. A strike fleet has already been positioned near Iran, and U.S. officials say the military is ready to carry out any orders from the president. Trump is demanding Iran end its nuclear program and stop killing demonstrators if it wants to avoid U.S. military action. Iran's foreign minister said on Friday that Tehran will not negotiate under threat and that its defense system will never be up for negotiation. President Trump has nominated Kevin Warsh, a banking executive, to head the U.S. Central Bank. Warsh was widely expected to secure the nod and is believed to share the president's desire to see U.S. interest rates fall more rapidly. FSN's Simon Marks reports.
President Trump has been hinting for days at the possibility that Kevin Warsh is his choice to replace Jerome Powell as the chairman of the Fed. Now he's confirmed it. Over his social media account, the president said he expects Mr. Warsh to go down as one of the great Fed chairmen, maybe the best. The president described his selection as coming from central casting, a possible reference to Mr. Warsh's clean-cut professional appearance, but also to his background. He's a former Fed governor and a senior figure at the investment bank Morgan Stanley. Certainly President Trump is hoping that Mr. Warsh will prove loyal to his demands for lower interest rates, though when the president's selection faces confirmation hearings on Capitol Hill, many lawmakers will want to know whether he's willing to protect the central bank's independence or make it a political arm of the Trump administration.
Former CNN anchor Don Lemon is in custody after being arrested in connection with his reporting during the recent Minneapolis ICE protests. The 59-year-old's lawyer says Mr. Lemon has done nothing wrong and insists he is protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. FSN's Mitch McCann reports.
The charges that the Justice Department chose to file were not immediately clear, but Don Lemon's lawyer says they will be fought vigorously in court. The former TV anchor was arrested in Los Angeles on Thursday, where he was there to cover the Grammy Awards. It's reported the arrest is in relation to Mr. Lemon's coverage of an ICE protest that took place inside a Minneapolis church in recent weeks. It's reported that following the protest, a federal judge initially declined to sign off on an arrest warrant for Mr. Lemon. Former colleagues and lawmakers have defended the broadcaster.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
More Free Talk Live is back. 603-283-6160 is the phone number to get in on the conversation with us. You can talk about whatever you want. You can talk about what we're talking about, change the subject. It doesn't matter. It's Free Talk Live. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Angelo.
And Mr. Penguin.
And we have Dave Ridley still on the line. Thank you for holding over the break, Ridley. And by the way, if people want more of Dave Ridley, you can go to ridleyreport.com. And I really love this series idea you're doing. It's different than what I mentioned about Carla, by the way. Kind of embarrassing, but I didn't mean to do that. But it is much different. Carla's just talking about like different instances of activism she was involved in, and she's just doing it on her podcast. And that's great, too. I recommend you should listen to it. It's pretty cool. But I love Ridley's side of this because you've been here longer, and I knew nothing about this 2005 guy.
Yeah, Ridley is definitely a good person with historical knowledge of the Free State Project because of how long he's been around.
An OG, as the kids would say.
Yeah, for sure.
I did one interview for an OG activist, and it was Ridley. So if you guys are interested, you can go to our Free Talk Live places where we have our archives. Like if you go to freetalklive.com, you'll find it, but like our SoundCloud, you can look up Bonnie's Activist Archives. That's what I called it. And I did one interview for it. And it was Ridley. And it was awesome.
There's actually a surprising number of people who are around from back in those days. But I mean, you have to remember the whole Free State Project was really, really tiny at that point in terms of movers.
More badass, I'd say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it was. I don't know if I describe it quite like that, but yeah, no, certainly they were doing some pretty hardcore stuff for sure.
Yep.
I think it helped too because the internet wasn't what it was. And now it's like it's so easy to Google somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's 10 years after, 20 years after the fact, almost, and you
guys are
can
making me feel old.
Oh, this guy. Well,
he was 5 in 2005.
I know.
Yeah, I was 5 in
making me
05.
feel old.
So, but I'm just thinking, like, if you would have done, especially with like cancel culture, right, where they dig up everything you've ever said on the internet ever, doing that kind of stuff, it just has more of a spotlight now because of the internet, right? Nobody. Like he didn't go viral doing that, so he didn't get canceled, and he probably could still get a job.
No, he did get. Dave, didn't you get shadow banned?
No, he means Mike. We didn't get canceled doing the pedicure thing.
Yeah, like nobody's gonna not give him a job 10 years from now. In 2015, nobody went back and found that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's a different era of
a lot of that
just
stuff has
America.
sort of been scrubbed from the internet, so you can't easily find it anyway.
Yeah, I think that's
so
what he's kind of getting at.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But now everything's like on the big 5 platforms, like Twitter, Facebook.
I mean, but doesn't that stuff kind of go away over time? I mean,
not if you look up their name
not
and
if
you really want to
find
racist.
For
yeah,
some
not if
reason.
you get called racist for some reason, they'll find it.
I don't know. I think just that probably enough time hasn't gone by yet. But yeah, I don't know.
But do you have more for us on this story, Dave?
We had a crowd of about 20 people there to support him, and I got video of it. And the Keith Murphy, current state, I think he's a state senator now. He was there that day. And John Cannell, who we lost in a mysterious fire, he was there that day.
Whoa.
And anyway, so
at the church, right?
It was a seminal event in Free Stater history, and it was all over the press. And there was a political cartoon about it, and it triggered scrutiny of the way that law had come into being. That said, you had to have 1,500 hours of training or something to file someone's nails with an emery board. And they did, and what got in the press was, hey, this lady who sponsored the bill ran a barber shop or something, like a nail shop. And this would help protect her from competition if this bill were passed. And then we I requested a bill at the legislature to follow up and get rid of the law that year. And I went, and we didn't do very well. We were made fun of and everything. But I told I saw that one of these authoritarian reporters hanging around. I said, "Hey, Colin, the outlaw manicure bill is coming up in a few minutes. You can come up and see it and make fun of us." So he did. He came up and covered the bill and made fun of us. And but what happened? Oh, and but speaking of licensed barbers, there were people that were trying to stop this bill. They were really angry. The barbers showed up like a union or something. It was like being surrounded by SEIU.
I can see this.
One of them assaulted me at the hearing.
Also
and
not surprising.
Laid hands on my head and said, "Look at that spot on your head. They missed it, because I had shaved all my head. I had barbers shave my head off. You missed a spot." And I said, "A licensed barber missed a spot, not me."
Nice. That's great.
Oh, that's a great comeback.
He hit you in the head when he did that?
Say what?
Did you say he hit you in the head when he poked it or something?
There was a lady, and she was putting her hands on my head.
Wow. Ugh. Gross.
And then
she should lose her license.
But years later,
that would be really funny to file a complaint.
Because she was touching her
against
without
because it's a license, you can file a complaint against the people that were
head touching license. I mean, you asked for the head touching license. Sorry, now you have to lose it.
Years later, though, when no one was looking very closely, the bill was the law, I think, was struck off the books, and no longer can you. You just don't have to. You don't have to get 1,500 hours of training now to file nails with an emery board, as I understand it.
Did they
Nothing
lower
like
it, or did they just get rid of?
I think they made
it all the way.
I was thinking maybe they got completely rid of it or something. It's just much easier now.
It's interesting. People laugh. There's what I always remember is the I'm trying to think of the television guy who made fun of the Keene parking meter activists, right? It's really funny. Actually, I don't know if you can find it on YouTube anymore. I think it got taken down, but it's really funny because people went around filling parking meters, and I forget who the guy is, but he's like some left wing talk show host.
It's like Jimmy Kimmel, maybe.
No, it's not him. I know it if I heard the name, but Dave, you probably know the name. I just can't think of it at the moment. But
is it like one of the political late night guys, like Comedy Central, like Jon Stewart or
not him?
Stephen Colbert?
That's it, Stephen Colbert. Yeah, Stephen Colbert. Anyway, but yeah, they came out and they made a whole thing of it. Like they did a ton of video, and so half of the show is basically them following around Chris Cantwell. I'm trying to think who else was there.
Garrett Ian.
Was it Garrett Ian?
Yes,
James. I think it was James. So it might have been Garrett Ian and James. Yeah, I think that was the three of them.
Nice.
Anyway, but they just mocked them like you wouldn't believe.
But what's awesome about that is that's mocking to a normie, but that is advertisement to somebody who sees it and is that's amazing what they're doing.
And I don't think anybody was expecting to change anything politically with that. It was literally a publicity stunt to attract attention to the Free State Project, and the people who get it, right, libertarians, it was super useful,
and it has lasting effects till today because
we're still talking about it, right?
I have done Robin Hooding with Joa, and now when Jane sees me coming, she turns around and I get all the people saved from their tickets. It happens literally more often than you'd think, a few times a year. I'm driving around, I have nothing to do. I see her coming.
Is Jane the local
Jane's
the ticketer?
The thing,
the ticket lady.
The thing to remember too is that while a lot of these things that we're fighting, we're kind of made fun of, that we're doing, it's done in fun. It's done in great fun and to attract publicity. But then years later, we end up winning, not winning, but getting bills passed to fix those problems. I'm trying to think. One of them was it used to be you had to, I think, submit in order to get a license to concealed carry, you had to submit some paperwork to the sheriff for approval, and then they just could arbitrarily deny you. And we actually had some of our activists denied a concealed carry permit. And of course, nothing happened at that point. But years later, that law changed, so you don't need to get any kind of concealed permit anymore in order to
Was
conceal
that Derek
carry.
J?
I think Ian was one of the people, and I think it might have been Derek J. might have been the other person. Yeah, I think it was like two people. But
And then
anyway,
it became constitutional carry anyway.
right, exactly. And so the whole point that I'm making is like there's stuff that we do, and then I guess I don't know if that was really activism or whatnot, but I think it was kind of they wanted to see what would happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but the point there is that
Didn't
the
Derek
activism.
just carry a gun anyway? That's activism.
I don't know if he committed civil disobedience in that particular case, but he certainly did commit a lot of civil disobedience for really, really minor stuff.
Which you can watch at Derek J's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Absolutely best documentary ever. If there's one documentary you will ever see, that's the one you need to see.
That's Chris's opinion. I love it. I really do it.
No, I enjoy it. Me
sad
and
if it's-
Riley. Well, Riley sat with me while I watched it the other day.
Riley listened to it. He'd seen it. Heard it before.
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
right?
He's experienced it before. But he was like, no, I hadn't watched the full thing. I've seen clips. I've heard of it. I've heard the story.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't watched the full thing all the way through in one sitting. And Riley took me and said, "Sit down, boy. You're gonna watch this here."
I
Awesome,
can't tell you how many people moved to the Free State because of that documentary. And there
and
was
Chris is one. Sorry.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, definitely. Derek J. Is victimless crime spree. Free Talk Live.
Is that the website? Did I get the website right?
Derek J. If you type in Derek J.
Victimless
crime spree, you'll get it. It's on YouTube. It's also on his page. I don't know if the page is just a link to YouTube though. It might just be an embedded video on the website itself. But the website's still up, by the way.
I do want to make sure that Dave Ridley gets to get out everything he wants to get out for his series of calls on OG New Hampshire activism. So, is there anything else you want to say, Ridley?
Well, we learned some important lessons from this particular civil disobedience and the arrest and then the follow-up. And one of the things was how important it is to support the activist who goes to jail. So he went to jail, but we hadn't thought about that part, and so we didn't have like people ready to take him home when he got out of jail. He kind of just popped out a couple days later, and we weren't ready, and he was kind of stranded there for a while.
No.
And he just didn't get the support that he needed, and I think that was maybe the first step in him kind of getting a little bit disillusioned, and eventually he left the state, and it was really sad.
We're definitely better about that now. Like, people are always calling the jails, figuring out which jail he's going to.
We're definitely on top of that. I mean, like every time somebody's been released, like even I once ran and picked somebody up at I think it was 2 a.m. in the morning, just out of the blue, like they were messaging, and I guess that his phone wasn't taken, but like
me and you went to go get nobody. We've both went to go get Ian.
Yeah.
We've helped out Joe when he's been arrested. All this stuff. When he's been
like it wasn't
handcuffed.
And it's like, and we're talking about like last minute, like you don't even know these people are gonna I mean, you might have an idea that they're gonna be getting out, maybe, but you might not have any idea, and you just get a message, and all of a sudden it's like it's a weird hours, and it's like then you're trying to get all these people together that you know around you in order to go, and it's like we have a huge community here, but like how many people are going to be able to just take off at the moment's notice to go pick somebody up from
and not just that,
jail?
I do feel for the early activists. Like, I don't feel like we should judge them too harshly, because a lot of this stuff is hard to figure out. You got to have the OG activists who've already been through it to tell you how, okay, you got to call the jail and ask about this and get a personal, all this stuff. I wouldn't just know what to do. If my friend got arrested while I lived in Texas, I would not know what to do, Yeah,
I definitely have to give credit to the early activists who moved here. I'm not even talking about the people we have tons of activists here that have moved over the decades, a lot of them are still here even. But the point is that those early activists in particular, when they moved, there was nobody here, right? Like, I mean, I moved, but like, there was thousands of people here already, right? Like, I don't have an excuse not to move. Somebody when there's nobody in there yet, like if nobody's in New Hampshire, why would you move, right? Like it's just it's sort of a dream, right? But it's not a real one. It's like it's a fiction, right? And that's kind of how I looked at it when I first heard about the Free State Project in 2000. What was it, 3 maybe? When they first announced in New Hampshire. As the destination, and it was like I just wrote it off, but it was also something that even then to me was just like, oh, like I have to do this, but like it wasn't real, right? So like I wasn't gonna move. I wasn't gonna drop out of college and go. And it wasn't until like another decade, I want to say at least another decade or so before I heard of it again, and I was like, oh my gosh, that actually happened. And I wouldn't have moved if it wasn't for those early movers. If I didn't if it wasn't for those early activists who did things to get media attention and stuff, nobody else would have heard of it either, for that matter. So those people are absolutely some of the most important people I think out there, and they deserve a lot of credit. And Dave, thank you for your Dave Ridley. I know a lot of you guys don't hear anybody telling you they appreciate what you did, but I just want to let you know we appreciate you here, and there are for those who know anyway, I'm sure there's lots of other people who also appreciate you here as well.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Chris. Well, the other thing we learned from this is that apparently Gandhi was pretty much right when he said that for civil disobedience to be effective, it must trigger a response from the government. So when I did a civil disobedience campaign later, the reason it had to be a campaign a couple of years later was because I couldn't get them to arrest me. So I didn't do the Fisher thing, where I said, I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep coming back.
Yeah.
I would just show up and do something and then, go do something else.
I can confirm
I had to perform, I think, 10 acts of civil disobedience in front of government offices before I could get myself arrested. It took forever.
Yeah, I have to say, it was when we moved to New Hampshire in 2016, it was almost impossible to get arrested. Like, I mean, we did a open container protest with what is it, a little ball? Fake alcohol, whatever. Anyway, and they were too quick to pick up on it, like that, and they didn't do anything. And it was just like, wow, this is actually pretty hard to get arrested here. Even when they pull you over, like for stuff like they just kind of like let you go.
This guy named Preston H. Now, he was doing, I don't know if he is now, he was doing First Amendment audits in New Hampshire and in Keene. He went around just last year with fake, it's like Heineken, I think it is, like zero alcohol beer.
Yep.
And he was walking around in front of a cop doing it, like kind of teasing him, like, what are you going to do about it? And then the cop put him in handcuffs and he said, you didn't even do an investigation. He was like, I don't care. And he was like, look at the beer. And he was like, the cop looked at the beer and he saw that 0%, so he starts unhandcuffing him. And he's like, is it against your rules to not do an investigation before handcuffing someone? And the cop just tried to like leave with his tail between his legs. And he actually called and got him in trouble. He got him in trouble for not investigating. It's literally what they have to do.
Yeah, they should definitely be like
sure that you're doing something wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean it is kind of ridiculous. It's like they just they don't have how would I phrase this? Two brain cells that rub together. I mean it's sort of, I mean it's stereotypical, but it's also kind of true.
Yep. I agree. Do you have anything else for us, Ridley?
You should be able to see the video of this of the arrest and everything, the whole 2005 event. I eventually uploaded it to RidleyReport.com, I think.
Okay, awesome. So if we search Matt Fisher on there, we should be able to find it?
I think Outlaw Manicure is
Outlaw Manicure. All right, nice.
Something like that. Yeah.
Very, very fun. Are you going to do more calls about 2005? Is that how this will work?
Yeah, there's a lot more to tell you about 2005. Hopefully I can get to it by the end of 2026.
Yay!
I love this. I love this if you're going to start doing it routinely, calling in about this stuff, because this is all I can't tell you how many stories I am aware of, but I'm sure there's so many that I am unaware of.
There was so much. Thank you for the call, Dave Ridley. There was so much I was unaware of when I interviewed him about his activism, and I'm so happy that his first call in this series was one that I'd never heard of. I love that. Really
there's 20 years of activism now in New Hampshire, so like there's going to be a ton of stuff, and most of the people here, they haven't been here a decade. Like I've been here a long time, and I don't feel like I've been here that long. I've been here about almost 10 years now, and
nice.
Yeah. So
do you know your move date?
March 2016 is when I moved.
So we should celebrate or something.
Yeah, actually, that would be really cool.
That's kind of cool because mine was the 5 years, just on the 21st of January. 21st January this year was 5 years, and yours is going to be 10.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah. So, it's interesting. There's a lot of interesting people who have come through here, and and I'm talking about specifically Keene, but there's people who, it's really funny. We have people all over the state actually now, but a lot of people who came to New Hampshire, moved to New Hampshire as free staters, they stopped in Keene. So we kind of exported our activism.
A lot that did the brunt of activism.
Yeah.
They went off to live more quiet lives in New Hampshire somewhere. A lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's you burn out if you overdo the activism. It's
one of the only ones.
One of the things I actually tried not doing was overdoing it, right? But you can't. To some degree, you gotta have fun, right? I mean, you come here, you gotta do it, right? But I think everybody's gonna overdo it a little bit. But you just sort of have to take it easy, slow down over time, and just sort of take it easy and keep going, right?
I feel like I've been way more safe than I would have liked to when I first got here. It's just that Ian went to jail, and it's if I go to jail, well, what's going to happen to Free Talk Live?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the thing. And not everybody is going to necessarily do the most risky kind of activism. Almost nobody's gone. I don't know if anybody's gone to jail for more than a couple of months, right? Or, well, I think actually Rich Paul is the only person I think that I'm even aware of who's spent a year in a cage. So most of the activism that we are doing here is actually, first of all, it's victimless. There's no victims to it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's dumb laws that we're violating, whether that's open container laws or smoking weed in Central Square or something along those lines. That's the kind of activism, that tends to be done here. So it's not usually too terribly risky. So
taking things to court and not paying the fines.
Yeah, parking tickets. Yeah, another one. Basically, getting a parking ticket, fighting the parking ticket in a court, a $5 parking ticket. Yeah. And that's one thing I have. That's one of the examples of the story I have to tell. This is a long time ago now, but close to a decade at this point probably. But I got 2 parking tickets, and it was the last time, except for you, Bonnie. It was the last time anybody ever got anybody ever got a trial for a parking ticket.
Yeah, because what I had heard is that you'll go to the city, you'll say, I want to contest this, I want a court date, and they'll just drop it.
But they
wouldn't drop mine.
If Ian was not there with you, or
they probably would drop mine.
If you would, maybe they would have done it if they had known you were Ian's, significant other. But other than that, I think that's the only reason you got a trial, because there were many people who tried to get the trials, so they would just drop the tickets. They rip the tickets up instead of giving us trials. Yep. After I won 2 parking tickets and 1 trial. Yep. Almost a decade ago. So.
We were shocked that they really wanted to give us the trial, but it was great for us because I made a video showing exactly how insane court.
Sure.
Literally rips, mask off. Literally.
Well, I mean, and this also goes to show that with more people, if you have enough people doing stuff, even stupid little stuff again and again and again, eventually they give up, even when it's still technically illegal or, it still violates the law. You can have an impact. And actually, it's another great example was the weed in Central Square. So Rich Paul also goes by Nobody. He changed his name so you could vote Nobody for mayor, by the way. But anyway, so Rich Paul, this is 15 years ago probably at this point. He basically was there was a protest in Keene Square, people smoking weed basically, except not yet because this is early days and weed was still illegal. And back then, they basically were just having a protest, and people had weed, but they weren't openly smoking it. Well, 2 cops were walking to the Central Square, and they sit down right next to Rich, and Rich says, "You mind if I smoke?"
This is on camera, by the way.
Yeah, on camera. Cops say, "No, go ahead." Pulls out his weed. Immediately he's arrested. Doesn't even get a puff in. They take him down to the station, and they about maybe an hour later, half an hour later, 100 activists who were at the protest all go down to the police station and they start smoking weed in the police station. Now you can't fit 100 activists in the lobby of the police station here, but maybe 50 of them were inside, 50 of them were outside, basically.
And they were smoking.
And they were smoking weed, right? So they were smoking weed in the police station.
No one got arrested. They
don't have enough cages to put that many people in Keene because Keene's only 23,000 people. So yeah, they don't have enough cages. And anyway, after that, nobody has ever been arrested. And every week, I think there was basically a smoke out in Keene in Central Square before. But this was again,
and they would like circle,
for
but they
years.
would not arrest anyone.
Yeah, years before we passed a law, we actually got a law passed.
Well, didn't they just recriminalize it in the state of New Hampshire? I thought it was decriminalized, and I heard that they were trying to recriminalize.
To clarify it, it's decriminalized, meaning
I thought they were trying to change that back, though. I heard something at work about it.
Yeah, I doubt it. I mean,
maybe there's like a
unlikely.
bill, but all that means is it's proposed.
I don't doubt that somebody's not proposing a bill to undo stuff, and they're always proposing bills to undo stuff, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to pass.
They probably won't because Republicans are the majority and they're Liberty Republicans. So you need to be on the Liberty Republican side as well.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. So this is also part of why it's kind of hard to undo a lot of this stuff is because we have New Hampshire Free Staters have about control over 1/4 of the House. We don't own the House yet, but we're getting there, and we still have enough political clout at this point to sort of stop bad bills from getting passed.
I'm interested if you find what you're talking about for us to talk about it. More Free Talk Live coming up, and you can call in 603-283-6160 to bring up whatever's on your mind. Thanks for the call, Dave Ridley. RidleyReport.com too. More Free Talk Live coming up.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Tony Waterman. According to New York Times sources, President Donald Trump is reviewing an option to send American forces into Iran to carry out raids. It's unclear if those raids would target government officials or even the supreme leader. The option carries new weight after U.S. forces captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro earlier this month. A strike fleet has already been positioned near Iran, and U.S. officials say the military is ready to carry out any orders from the president. Trump is demanding Iran end its nuclear program and stop killing demonstrators if it wants to avoid U.S. military action. Iran's foreign minister said on Friday that Tehran will not negotiate under threat and that its defense system will never be up for negotiation. President Trump has nominated Kevin Warsh, a banking executive, to head the U.S. Central Bank. Warsh was widely expected to secure the nod and is believed to share the president's desire to see U.S. interest rates fall more rapidly. FSN's Simon Marks reports.
President Trump has been hinting for days at the possibility that Kevin Warsh is his choice to replace Jerome Powell as the chairman of the Fed. Now he's confirmed it. Over his social media account, the president said he expects Mr. Warsh to go down as one of the great Fed chairmen, maybe the best. The president described his selection as coming from central casting, a possible reference to Mr. Warsh's clean-cut professional appearance, but also to his background. He's a former Fed governor and a senior figure at the investment bank Morgan Stanley. Certainly President Trump is hoping that Mr. Warsh will prove loyal to his demands for lower interest rates, though when the president's selection faces confirmation hearings on Capitol Hill, many lawmakers will want to know whether he's willing to protect the central bank's independence or make it a political arm of the Trump administration.
Former CNN anchor Don Lemon is in custody after being arrested in connection with his reporting during the recent Minneapolis ICE protests. The 59-year-old's lawyer says Mr. Lemon has done nothing wrong and insists he is protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. FSN's Mitch McCann reports.
The charges that the Justice Department chose to file were not immediately clear, but Don Lemon's lawyer says they will be fought vigorously in court. The former TV anchor was arrested in Los Angeles on Thursday, where he was there to cover the Grammy Awards. It's reported the arrest is in relation to Mr. Lemon's coverage of an ICE protest that took place inside a Minneapolis church in recent weeks. It's reported that following the protest, a federal judge initially declined to sign off on an arrest warrant for Mr. Lemon. Former colleagues and lawmakers have defended the broadcaster.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, ending the week with a very sober warning about the rapidity of developments in the field of artificial intelligence. A new poll this week showed that more than a quarter of all workers in Britain fear they will lose their jobs to AI in the next 5 years. And this week alone, Amazon announced a further 16,000 job losses, mainly in America, because of AI. This was the week when Geoffrey Hinton, the so-called godfather of AI, predicted that virtually every single job on the planet is going to be replaced by the industry that he now regrets having sparked.
Already we're seeing starting jobs in many professions like lawyers being taken over by AI. Most experts believe that sometime within the next 20 years, quite possibly within 10 years, we'll have superintelligence, something better than us, and that will be able to do any new job that's created. It'll be all of them. The big tech companies are thinking, if we can be the first to get really good AI, human-level AI, we can make a lot of money selling AI to companies so that they can replace workers. As far as I can see, that's the only place they can get their huge investments back. They're not thinking about the social consequences of that. They're assuming somehow the state will take care of it, but I don't see how it can.
What does all that mean for youngsters trying to position themselves for the future? Geoffrey Hinton's got ideas for them, and you'll hear those on Monday.
And a recap of today's headlines. The New York Times is reporting that President Trump is reviewing an option to send U.S. troops into Iran for targeted raids. President Trump has nominated banking exec Kevin Warsh to head the U.S. Central Bank. Like Trump, Warsh says interest rates should be lower. Former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with his reporting during Minneapolis ICE protests. That's Feature Story News' Tony Waterman reporting.
This week, badly shaken researchers reported observing an osprey stalking, killing, and devouring an adult male lion in what is being called a massive food chain shakeup. Confirmation of the 3-pound marine bird consuming the 400-pound feline has biologists scrambling to determine the new predator-prey connections between the planet's billions of organisms.
We seem to be experiencing some sort of cross-species dietary free-for-all.
Scientists say that the killing of the healthy, full-grown lion by a typical osprey specimen has lent credibility to recent reports of a deer seen grazing on a nest of squirrels in Wisconsin, as well as a claim made by a group of Japanese fishermen who say they witnessed 300 million krill devouring a 40-ton humpback whale. In other news, NASA acquires the moon for an upcoming Kennedy Space Center exhibit. A radio DJ invites the whole town to some bullshit, and assuming the many universes theory of quantum mechanics is accurate, the review you've just seen will remain relevant in another reality for all eternity. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com. Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. That's the phone number for you to call to bring up whatever is on your mind, to get in on the conversation with us. And you can change the subject, you can tell us what's on your mind, you can tell us we're wrong. It's up to you, and that's the point of Free Talk Live. Thank you, and I'd like to thank Jonathan for being an amplifier with us here at Free Talk Live. That means that Jonathan went to amps.freetalklive.com and signed up to support the show. AMPS stands for Advertise, Market, Promote, and Support. Thanks to Jonathan and everyone who supports us. Again, that's amps.freetalklive.com if you'd like to check out the perks and benefits of becoming an amplifier. Man, why was that so impossible for me yesterday, other than that I was tired? With you on Free Talk Live, you've got me, Bonnie,
Angelo,
and Mr. Penguin.
And once again, we really do appreciate all of our amplifiers. And that number is 603-283-6160. This from the Wall Street Journal. Venezuelans suddenly have hope for the economy, less so for democracy. I've been really wanting to read at least what the mainstream media wants us to know about what's going on in Venezuela since. It's like we heard about Maduro getting captured and we haven't heard anything about it since.
I'm really confused about the title of this article.
I'm hoping it means that they have hope that their hyperinflated, crappy, not
currency?
just their currency, but that they'll be able to have a hope for their future without the horrible.
But why? I mean,
state
what
they've been in.
Nothing has changed. So
I don't know. I don't know what's changed other than Maduro's gone. So maybe that.
Wait.
The other party.
Oh, that's right. He was arrested he was kidnapped.
Kidnapped and
yeah,
brought to America.
yeah, and he's not in the United States. That's right.
I don't mind calling it kidnapping, and I don't mind saying he's a horrible person.
Literally what they did. They kidnapped him.
Yesterday, Angelo informed me, and I had not heard this. I don't know if you had, Mr. Penguin, that the Venezuelans were saying that the way that they were able to get into his house and kidnap him so easily was they hit the entire country of Venezuela with an energy weapon that Donald Trump is calling the discombobulator, and it made their ears and nose bleed.
Not the whole country. They cut power to the whole country.
But,
and then there was like a microwave weapon deployed at the base.
Okay, so
I guess I
that
mixed up. I thought they both
discombobulated
did
the soldiers.
They cut the entire country's internet and everything.
Yeah, this sounds like it's a little bit of an exaggeration on the truth, just a tad. So my understanding is that a certain area was cut of power within the capital, and as far as and you feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here, but
we got this from Al Jazeera, just so you know. So this is what's being
reported. I understand.
I could understand you being
the
credulous of
the
if
news.
it happens.
You can't believe everything you read in the news, or especially in the news. But then again, so that might be what Al Jazeera is saying, and maybe seems unlikely to be totally accurate. It sounds like they probably exaggerated it a bit, or you're exaggerating what they said a bit.
We don't know everything.
The defense minister of Venezuela accused the United States of using weapons that haven't been seen before.
Yeah, so these weapons actually might be illegal. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Under international law, actually, and other agreements. So I don't know that for sure.
War crimes possible. We don't know.
Yeah. So
because if they're not saying what they are, if they're not claiming that they have these weapons, then how could anybody know if it's against the law?
So certain biological and other chemical and other types of weapons of this nature, I believe, are now. Here's the other aspect of this. I don't know if the U.S. technically is part of that agreement. So it might be like illegal under international law, but like because the U.S. is not part of it, they can do it, or I don't know, something like that. But yeah, it's this is definitely it definitely sounds like the kind of thing that is probably like.
Well, they reference that there are like sound weapons, like wave weapons that are used for like on ships and for crowd control. And like this technology kind of works.
And so in war, that's illegal. I don't necessarily know it's illegal
this is
outside of that.
Police action. This
right.
wasn't considered war.
It might be
Yeah, that's a good
legal
point. They
for
tried to
police
get around that
action
one.
within your own country, but using that in a time of, like, but your military using that against other actors of countries that you're invading or defending
But that's why
against.
Trump
would
is
be a
trying to
problem.
get around this being an act of war. He said he didn't send the military. He sent, what was it?
Law enforcement?
Well, wasn't it like a Delta Force thing? like a DOJ?
What is Delta Force? Oh, yeah.
It was like a DOJ like joint operation.
Basically like feds.
I think it's undoubtable that there was military. Well, he said there was military involvement, though. So I don't know how you can then disclaim liability, or under breaking international laws for.
So
no, because what they do is they create the joint task force, right? And they just put the DEA at the top of the joint
I know
task
what they
force,
do, right? But that doesn't change the fact that, like, it was. I mean, like.
That doesn't make it right. It's just how they get around their own laws.
So here's
It's a
the problem, right? I understand the U.S. does this kind of stuff all the time to get around the laws within the United States, right? But it's the problem, I think, with this is that the very act of invading another country is an act of war, right? So it doesn't even matter what you're claiming. You can claim this is a law enforcement doing it, but it doesn't matter. It's still an act of
Angela
war.
feels the same way as me. I'm not arguing that it isn't
No.
an act of war.
I don't think I'm not trying
Well,
to
did Venezuela
suggest either you guys are
declare war?
arguing against this idea or thought.
Did Venezuela declare war on the U.S. for the
I don't know.
invasion?
No.
Why do you ask?
Well, I'm just saying. Then is it like? I mean, then it's not a war if we're already out of the country now.
But and when somebody does an act of war,
It doesn't,
I guess, sure.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's
Well, that's the
declared.
question.
It's still an act of war, right? So it's still illegal under international law, as I
And
understand it.
here's what I was
who's
looking
going to enforce it?
Well, I mean, and this is the reason why the United States This is why the reason the United States gets away with war crimes
Bullies.
all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like,
they're just bullies. There was something I was like, oh, there's some word I was looking for that I knew was something that was illegal for the weapons in international law, and it's indiscriminate. Like, it's not targeting a certain set amount, like a biological weapon. If it's a biological weapon that flies through the air and it can kill crops and it can kill goats.
wait. So back up with your thought a little bit. So you're saying you just looked at something up, and you're saying that it's illegal only if it's
No, not only. This is just one of the things. This is one of the things that seems to apply to this discombobulator Trump was talking about, is that it would indiscriminately affect people in its range. You know what I mean? Like, it's like there could be some non-military personnel sitting in their house. And
I'm pretty sure that, like, these types of weapons are somewhat targeted. Like, I don't want to say that they're targeted. Like, it could be like okay, crowd control, that's still targeted.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people that are going to be affected, but it's still targeted. It's not the kind of thing that's going to be done from space, and then all of a sudden, like, the entire country is going to be
almost, at least most of
affected.
an entire country's internet and
electricity.
Trump was quoted as saying, no one in the country had light unless they had a candle.
That's not accurate. It was certain areas of the Capitol that got cut off. I mean, again, this is what I read. I don't know. This is the problem with everything you read and hear, right? Like, these people are liars. They're thieves. They're scum, right?
Yeah.
Whether we're talking about Maduro, or we're talking about, Trump, or we're talking about, Joe Biden, or we're talking about some other politician, or some law enforcement, especially law enforcement, right? Like, these people are scum. So
specific weapon could be discriminate enough, but it could cause superfluous injury, because these people were saying it felt like there was an explosion in their head, and then their their
it was
nose
crippling.
and
Yeah,
ears
I mean,
were
the whole
bleeding.
point of a weapon like this is to cripple them so they can't fight back, basically.
Disgusting.
And that's probably going to be fairly targeted in a certain area. I doubt
It might cause
it was beyond the
permanent harm.
compound or any.
We don't know yet, because we don't know what it is.
We
That's
don't,
what's so
but
terrifying. That's another
it's
prohibition is permanent harm.
It still seems unlikely that it was going to be. I mean, just think about it. Think about it like radio waves, right? Like that's the type of technology it is. So, like, yeah, there's. I mean,
but you don't know what it is. You said you didn't believe what it was at the beginning, didn't you? Didn't you not believe in the discombobulator? Or are you just saying that the claim that it didn't attack the whole country?
What I said is it's unlikely. I don't believe that the weapon affected the entire country. Is the part that I am skeptical on.
No, that's not. I don't think the discombobulator is
I was wrong
affected the 47 Venezuelans and the 37 Cubans that died trying to defend Maduro's compound.
That's what killed them?
Yeah, well, I mean, they were they hit it with it, and then they went in there and shot everybody still standing.
Yeah,
So
but
it's a-
see, the discombobulator I don't think killed anyone.
So the discombobulator, that's
Sorry,
a
that's what
hilarious
Trump
choice
is
word.
calling it,
No,
right.
this is like a science fiction terminology, and I just
It
find it
is.
hilarious.
Trump called it.
So
So-
yeah, I don't disbelieve you. I just find it kind of humorous. So
Yeah.
so I'm not an expert on any of these weapons or anything.
Well,
but
how
like
he explained
the
it was
general,
that it made his head hurt, and then his
His head
eyes,
felt like it
Yeah.
his eyes
No,
and
no,
his
no.
ears started
No,
bleeding,
and
and
this
people
is,
started
like-
throwing up.
this
and
is
that's like in line with the other.
This is known like scientifically plausible stuff that they can do.
Listen, I lived on Dugway Proving Ground, and it's a bioweapons proving ground that the military uses to, test their biological weapons. And
Okay.
they constantly had big groups of people. I worked at the hotel. I had NASA people checking in to go and use their fields, and it's the size of Rhode Island. Like, they're
Okay.
definitely working on weapons.
Biological weapons, you mean?
New biological weapons, yeah.
Okay.
When-
I wouldn't necessarily be terribly surprised if that was true. I mean, if you look at like some of what's been revealed, like there's certainly
the gay bomb. The gay bomb was brought up. Did you ever hear about that?
Yeah, I've heard of it. But no, like I mean, there's
Actual
certainly
fact, it's not a conspiracy.
Yeah, no.
They tried it.
There's like you can actually like look at research like that they can't do in the United States. So like they were doing like this is the funny part about the Chinese. You know during COVID with the China. So it came from China, right? But the research that was being funded by like a U.S. university
by the NIH too,
with like funding from the government. So it's really funny when like you hear people like Trump or other leaders, U.S. leaders, criticizing China for like COVID because it's literally there's a good possibility that it was literally funded by U.S.
and that
dollars.
was set up by Fauci. That whole workaround because Obama had publicly banned the research into gain of function on viruses like that, gain of function research.
Mm-hmm.
So like Fauci was still the head of the NIH, and he kind of built this whole workaround to fund the coronavirus lab in China.
Yeah, just because they're using a Chinese lab.
Yeah,
I
mean, again, like I said, I don't know if it's accurate, if it did in fact come from that lab or not, but it's still whether it did or didn't. Is
so wait, did the coronavirus lab? The thing that blows my mind is did the novel coronavirus come from the gain of function research coronavirus lab, or it came from what do they say, a pangolin or a bat from a wet market?
It was definitely the lab.
across the
I think
town.
that, and I'm not saying that as a conspiracy theory. I thought they straight up.
Yeah,
came
they
out
did.
and
They did
opened-
come out with that like a
I don't
year
know.
or two ago.
I don't remember what the final conclusion was, but I don't necessarily know that it matters all that much. Like everything that,
But it implicates America. I know it's a
Yeah.
Chinese lab, but it was
Well, I know, but that's
Funded by
that's the humorous part, right? Like, it's like when you hear these politicians speak, they're lying, and it's like, and actually, it's really also interesting because like they also flip. Like originally they were saying not to wear masks, I think, and then they said to wear masks later. Like it's like, wait a minute, what?
And then in the midst of it, after saying like the week before, Fauci had said like wear 4 masks and wear goggles as well. Then he said it didn't matter like the next week, and it was like, okay, you guys are purposely messing with people. So I googled it just to see what they are like saying, and they said their AI overview says there's no definitive, universally agreed upon answer as to whether the novel coronavirus originated from a Chinese lab leak. Both natural origin and a lab-related incident remain plausible hypotheses. So my bad, it's not consensus like I thought. I thought it was like maybe the White House came out and said it. That could be a lie.
Even the words like that they're using is like it's kind of hard to believe, right? Like there has not been universal consensus. There's never universal consensus on anything.
That's a good point.
So like it's almost like okay, so you're literally manipulating something that's being manipulated.
A House panel concluded that COVID-19, and this was while Biden was president.
Yep.
That COVID-19 came from a lab leak, but that doesn't mean that the White House is correct.
That's kind of fun, that's kind of humorous too, in that like if it came from a lab leak, it was the U.S. funded research.
Right. I wonder how many Americans think, oh, so the Chinese hit us with it just because it was a Chinese lab.
No, the Chinese they locked. I remember what happened in China was horrific. How they were welding people into their houses.
Yep.
I think it hit China way worse than it hit like the West.
That would make
probably
sense
for
why
the
they'd
death
want to
toll.
leak it there. Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
Maybe if you don't believe the numbers, but it sounds like China's population like actually did take a really big hit.
You know what seems plausible is the overreaction was probably because they thought it was a lab leak themselves. A Chinese lab leaked something, more serious. It ended up being less serious than they thought it was originally, and that's why they were overreacting. And
China itself.
Yeah, China itself. And then in the end, after enough time went by, we realized it wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad as it was. They made it sound. But again, I mean, it did impact people who were who had other health conditions. But
yeah, like comorbidities.
Yeah, comorbidity is the word. But
I believe it in older people. I believe it. Like old people die from the flu all the time.
Yeah,
too,
right. But this is why it's an overreaction, right? So I don't know. I'm sorry. I know one person who died, I guess, from, well, I didn't know him well, here? But yeah, I used to do a show with Aria, and there was another guy who remoted in, and he died from the whole COVID thing.
Wow, I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, but everybody else, I don't know anybody else. He had he was comorbidity. I can't even say the word.
Morbidities. It's like the word morbid.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, he had other issues basically that were
This on Aria's show?
It wasn't Aria's show. It was let's see, who was it?
It wasn't Will Coley.
Yeah, Will Coley. It was Will Coley, Aria, and me.
Will Coley died?
No. It wasn't Will Coley who died. It was. I mean, if you did, I didn't hear about it, but no, it was this other guy. I'm trying to think if he was a lawyer but I think he was an older guy basically, and he had some other health issues. He was sick. Well, yeah, he was basically sick, and this was before COVID even hit. So, anyway,
you know another person then, because the person who did Kirby's Q Barbecue, the husband.
Oh, I forgot about him.
He was already sick with like diabetes and all kinds of other stuff.
From
he
COVID?
got COVID, and then weeks later he died.
Yeah, but was it from COVID?
Well, that's the thing. The people that know the situation well were like, it shouldn't have been counted as a COVID related death because he was already so sick. Like, he ate bad his whole life. He was obese. He was in his, I think, 70s, maybe 60s, but he was already like, his doctors were already scared for him. Then he gets a flu and dies. So it's kind of like, shouldn't be.
All I can tell you is I know a lot of people, and if there's only 2 of them that died out of, I don't even know. Right. It's a very small percentage of the population. The risk was very low. I had 2 elderly parents at the time, and neither of them died from COVID. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's not to say that it didn't. It definitely affected people.
None of my grandparents died. I have grandparents in California, Missouri, and Alabama.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, this is why it was an overreaction. And
I have 4 grandpas and 3 grandmas.
I actually don't think some of the original stuff that was going on was necessarily overreaction.
One grandpa was dead.
But I think it became pretty clear in short order that it was an overreaction. But yeah, I mean, it's like, it's the interesting thing about New Hampshire is that we shut down for like about, I want to say like it was like 2 weeks or something like that, basically, which was really short in the scheme of things of pretty much everywhere.
When I got here in September 2020, it was like a whole new world. Like, it was not shut down. But I do want to get into this article instead of just talking about COVID. I really don't like talking about COVID. I am so sick of COVID. It's depressing. But okay, weeks after, this is from the Wall Street Journal, by the way. Weeks after a U.S. military raid ended the 13-year rule of Nicolas Maduro, Venezuelans are living through a whiplash transition that feels less like a democratic dawn and more like an economic takeover. Maduro's regime is still largely in place. That's one thing that's a little odd to me. Why just remove the head and leave the rest of the disease?
It's personal vendetta. That's what it is.
Maybe. Led by his vice president and confidant, Delcy Rodriguez, there is little talk of holding free and fair elections. Wow. Masked intelligence agents. Wow. So they have their own masked goons running through the streets, I guess, dressed in black and armed, still man checkpoints throughout the city in Caracas. A reminder that Maduro may be gone, but his legacy of repression lives on. At the same time, there is hope for the economy for the first time in decades as relations with the U.S. thaw. That's why they're
they'll make money. I mean, they'll make money. out of this. I mean, are they going to be self-autonomous? No, but they'll have the ability.
They were like, they had outlawed the U.S. dollar before.
Nobody is
so
autonomous.
being allowed to use it.
Nobody is autonomous in the sense that you're talking about. The United States is heavily dependent on China and other countries, including Europe and South America.
Just mean like the Venezuelans won't be autonomous in their like picking a leader, right? Like they're not going to have they're not going to be autonomous in their democracy, but they'll have access to the world goods now.
Hopefully.
And they might have a chance to make money.
I don't know. We'll
Did
see.
you hear that Cuba is now heavily it's not rationed. No, they're not. Trump doesn't want anyone to do
sanctioned.
Heavily sanctioned. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it already
like
was
new sanctions.
New sanctioned though because Trump.
Are they blockading Cuba? Because I think there was some talk about something along those lines.
I don't know, but Trump is threatening anyone that brings them supplies. It's bad.
So then it is probably like a verbal blockade.
I think that it sounds like they're threatening to blockade Cuba, something like that.
Sounds right. It says that at the same time, there's hope for the economy for the first time as U.S. relations thaw. The Trump administration sold $500 million of Venezuelan oil and pumped $300 million of it into Venezuelan banks in a bid to help lift the country's currency, the bolivar, and tame hyperinflation.
Wait,
but are they going to legalize the dollar so people at least have that choice?
I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. They stole oil. And then they they sent a portion of the value of it back into Cuba. I mean, I'm sorry, not Cuba, into Venezuela.
Interesting, right? That sounds, you got it right.
What? Why? What would be the point of that? It's just going to be siphoned off by the Venezuelan government to go back to
funding their nasty government. That's such a good point.
Right? Like they're like this is the crazy thing. Like even if it's not direct, right? Like let's say it's that money does end up going to prop up like the currency. They're just going to end up taking it from somewhere else that maybe taxes would have covered or something like that, right? Like and then that tax money now is going to go to cover the costs of the oil or whatever that was stolen, right? Like,
am I wrong? Isn't using the dollar illegal in Venezuela still?
You might be right, but I think in practice it's tolerated, something along those lines.
I know it says this whole thing where there's an official exchange rate, but the Venezuelans rely on an unofficial parallel rate to determine the value of their dollars.
It's like a black market exchange rate is what you'd be referring to, and nobody would take their U.S. dollars to the Venezuelan bank.
To get their money, to get their bolivars,
right? Because it's regulated by the government in Venezuela, and the amount that you'll get is a fraction of what they're actually worth on the black market. Or,
I guess I was still wrong
the real
in a
market.
Way, because I thought it was like, oh, you are not allowed to use the dollar, but I guess you are, or maybe they just can't enforce it.
You might be right about it being technically illegal, but like it's not enforced. That's my understanding. Feel free to look it up and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's been my understanding of what the situation was in Venezuela.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. We'll try to figure that out. I mean,
it's probably like it here, right? But if we have it's like the same thing with crypto, right? If we want to use crypto instead of U.S. dollars, we can kind of do that off the books.
Illegal here, though.
They haven't done that exactly yet, but I know what you mean. Like, or use it in a way that they don't
certainly use coercion against
you. More Free Talk Live coming up. More stuff to talk about. A vehicle kill switch. More regulations. More free.
If you're looking for work, the person you are applying to may be even more nervous than you are. And the way things are now, your references have never been more important. Here are 3 tips. First, know that employers are checking. Every hire is under the microscope these days. Second, they won't just be checking references you provide. Figure that all of your ex-employers will get a call and be asked, would you hire him or her again? Third, assume you will be Googled. So before you apply, remove all those party animal photos from your Facebook page. Even if you're not in the job market, effective communication skills have never been more important, with money and attention so scarce now. For more tips for job seekers and getting better results in all your day-to-day communication, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Tony Waterman. According to New York Times sources, President Donald Trump is reviewing an option to send American forces into Iran to carry out raids. It's unclear if those raids would target government officials or even the supreme leader. The option carries new weight after U.S. forces captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro earlier this month. A strike fleet has already been positioned near Iran, and U.S. officials say the military is ready to carry out any orders from the president. Trump is demanding Iran end its nuclear program and stop killing demonstrators if it wants to avoid U.S. military action. Iran's foreign minister said on Friday that Tehran will not negotiate under threat and that its defense system will never be up for negotiation. President Trump has nominated Kevin Warsh, a banking executive, to head the U.S. Central Bank. Warsh was widely expected to secure the nod and is believed to share the president's desire to see U.S. interest rates fall more rapidly. FSN's Simon Marks reports.
President Trump has been hinting for days at the possibility that Kevin Warsh is his choice to replace Jerome Powell as the chairman of the Fed. Now he's confirmed it. Over his social media account, the president said he expects Mr. Warsh to go down as one of the great Fed chairmen, maybe the best. The president described his selection as coming from central casting, a possible reference to Mr. Warsh's clean-cut professional appearance, but also to his background. He's a former Fed governor and a senior figure at the investment bank Morgan Stanley. Certainly President Trump is hoping that Mr. Warsh will prove loyal to his demands for lower interest rates, though when the president's selection faces confirmation hearings on Capitol Hill, many lawmakers will want to know whether he's willing to protect the central bank's independence or make it a political arm of the Trump administration.
Former CNN anchor Don Lemon is in custody after being arrested in connection with his reporting during the recent Minneapolis ICE protests. The 59-year-old's lawyer says Mr. Lemon has done nothing wrong and insists he is protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. FSN's Mitch McCann reports.
The charges that the Justice Department chose to file were not immediately clear, but Don Lemon's lawyer says they will be fought vigorously in court. The former TV anchor was arrested in Los Angeles on Thursday, where he was there to cover the Grammy Awards. It's reported the arrest is in relation to Mr. Lemon's coverage of an ICE protest that took place inside a Minneapolis church in recent weeks. It's reported that following the protest, a federal judge initially declined to sign off on an arrest warrant for Mr. Lemon. Former colleagues and lawmakers have defended the broadcaster.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160. That's the phone number to call to bring up whatever's on your mind. And you can change the subject, you can talk about what we're talking about, or you can tell us we're wrong. It's up to you. 603-283-6160. Free Talk Live is brought to you by LibertyMinded.com. Official Free Talk Live gear like t-shirts and hoodies are available at LibertyMinded.com. Plus, you'll find a unique collection of cool and funny Liberty-oriented clothing at LibertyMinded.com. That's LibertyMinded.com. And with you on the show tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Angelo.
And Mr. Penguin.
And going to the phones here on Free Talk Live, we have Turd Ferguson in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Well, I saw Return to Silent Hill, probably a little over a week ago, and I'm bummed out. I don't know what happened.
You were so excited.
It should have been a slam dunk.
Do you think that they do this to depress people?
Yeah, it's a humiliation ritual. It's on purpose.
Don't you guys always know not to see
humiliation
anything that has the word "to" in the name?
Well, this is the thing. Turd was excited for this because he thought it was the end of the crapification of everything. Because
why?
Yeah.
Why? Can you explain that? Why, Turd? Because I remember that being confusing to me too.
Well, because the source material that they used was Silent Hill 2, which is probably the single greatest story in the history of video games. James Sunderland is probably the single greatest video game character in the history of video games. And, I've seen a lot of buzz this week, and a lot of people feel the same way I do, and everybody was kind of reminiscing about the mid 2000s because everybody knows that the mid 2000s was like the best.
They
era
want
in history.
you in this nostalgia fueled depression.
I don't know what they did to Assassin's
agree.
Creed. Broke my heart.
That's the thing.
That
they
movie
want
was
you.
but that came out in like 2016. It was like
But the thing is, what they
beginning
do-
of the crapification, I guess.
I feel like that's just your view because
All right, you
you're
guys got to
younger.
clarify something. These are games,
Yeah,
like video games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
But-
that first game came out in 2007. That's like the mid 2000s.
What you're talking about is purely a game, though, right? And what Turd's talking about is a game turned
movie.
Yeah. It's a
Well,
movie.
no, they
Yeah.
turned the game I'm
And, well-
referencing as into a movie too, but
Okay.
it flopped. It
Okay.
was terrible.
But the thing is, like, I
Well-
think that the crapification was well on its way before 2016, but that's probably because I was 19 and 20 in 2016. And
Dude, this is a long timing coming, but I think it's just gotten worse and worse, and especially in more recent years, because technologically
I bet
speaking, it's more easily done.
somebody who's an old geezer
Well-
now was complaining about the crapification of everything in the 80s. Like, actually, my grandma
I'm going to
said-
raise my hand here
Yeah.
and say, yeah, I was.
My grandma was talking about how crap classic rock music was in the 80s, and she hated my dad listening to it because she was like, why don't you listen to real music like the Beatles? And I bet her parents
Beatles
thought
actually
the
ain't
Beatles
too
with
bad.
the crapification. I love the Beatles.
Yeah,
But-
Beatles actually isn't too bad. It's like it's one of those bands that like I even know people who in the 90s were listening to. Like,
Yeah. People still love the Beatles, but I just think that...
no,
think
I mean
about
like
the
young
old
people
person-
were listening to, like not even just old
Yeah.
people.
But think about the old people in the 60s
Yeah.
when the Beatles came out. They were probably like, this is crap. We need to be listening to whatever the heck,
Yeah, for sure.
whatever the heck they listen to.
Well, I hope not. But here's the thing, though. In the mid 2000s, when the first Resident Evil movie came out, or I'm sorry, the first Silent Hill movie came out, people actually really liked it. And there's been a lot of buzz this week of all the people that are bummed out, and they're just reminiscing about how good the first Silent Hill. And look, I don't know if it was that great of a movie, but the ending of the first Silent Hill movie was fantastic. I mean, they ended it perfectly. You know, Rose and Sharon like drove back to their house, and their husband was waiting for them. But then you realize that, like in the last scene right before the credits, that Rose and Sharon had died in Silent Hill, and that their souls were sort of trapped in like the other world. And it was just a beautiful, haunting ending. And that's the thing. As bad as it was, they could have at least. I mean, I've got so much to say about it, but they
Is
could have at
Silent
least
Hill like a
ended it.
scary movie? Scary?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a thriller
and,
horror.
and you know what? That's actually one of the things that it got right. Like it was like it was kind of scary. They did actually do an okay job making it kind of scary. But they
You mean
they
this new one
screwed
was?
up the
They did an
story.
okay job at that?
Yeah. But they screwed up the story so much, and then they screwed up the ending. I mean, I was shocked. I mean, I couldn't even believe it. And you know, to do James Sunderland's story of guilt like that, I mean, just did him dirty. And Silent Hill 2 is a haunting, terrible, tragic story about two young lovers that were separated in a tragic circumstance, and you know, Mary like got cancer and then died, or some terminal illness, and then died, and he couldn't live without his wife, and then he goes to Silent Hill because he gets a letter from her, and then at the end of the game, after you go through all this stuff, and you realize that he's dealing with guilt and sexual repression and anxiety and anger and all these things, and then you realize at the end that no, she didn't die from cancer, that James Sunderland murdered his wife because she was angry at him, and she was yelling at him, and you know, as she was getting closer and closer to dying, and he couldn't look at her, and she was becoming physically uglier, and all she wanted him to do was for him to tell her that he was still attracted to her, and that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with her, but he couldn't. I mean, he couldn't as a man, and so
He killed
then
her, but
after
the movie before you learn this is all like his delusions. Is that what you're saying?
Well, he killed her in the video game, and that's the way it should have been. And then in
The twist in the video game, I think, was that he killed
in the
her.
video game he did, and then in the movie they screwed it up. They totally screwed it up.
Wait,
And
is this
I'm
going to be
really-
like spoilers? You should at least give a spoiler alert.
Well, Well, I mean, nobody wants to see it now because everybody online is talking about how they screwed it up so
If
bad.
I'm excited about something and then the people are saying the reviews say it's bad, I'll still go see it.
Really?
Especially if like something I'm really excited about, and then people are saying, "Oh, the reviews say it's bad." I might disagree.
Well, look, I might do that too. But if in a game where
I might do it for the popcorn and the soda.
In a situation where it's a game adaptation, and then everybody's saying that they screwed up the lore so bad, I mean, nobody wants to go see that if they screwed it up.
I still don't think you should spoil it. It's too early.
All right. Well,
Too soon.
look, I won't spoil the movie if you want to go see it.
I don't want to go see
but,
it. I'm just looking out for
You guys
the
are putting me to sleep right now, so.
Yeah, I don't watch that many movies at all. The only movie I've watched recently was the SpongeBob movie.
I started watching the Silent Hill at some point, but I don't think I ever got through the whole thing.
I don't like to be disturbed. I don't like scary things. I don't want that in my life. Like, why would I be like,
too
oh, you know,
slow, I think, and boring. Like it was like if the pace was a little quicker, it would have been interesting. But like I couldn't.
Crow 777. I know what I was describing might be more just like, tastes changing throughout the decades. But one thing that the podcast Crow 777 did a little series on within their own podcast was what they, them, and those were trying to impose on us each decade is very flavored up until recently. Now they want us to feel lost. And I believe that. I used to say it's weird how it's like, you think of what did people wear in the 70s? Oh, it's so very, what they wore in the 70s, like corduroy, mini skirts, disco stuff, all that stuff. But you can't think, it's not as easy to think of, what did they wear in 2010? Like,
yeah, it's true.
I feel like
I do. I think it's the swag t-shirts, Party Rock Anthem,
I was gonna
LMFAO,
I think
Shuffling.
There's like specific things for specific groups.
Yeah,
even I would have never wore that stuff.
I can probably think of like what was people were wearing maybe like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
If you just think of like
and then
people
2000,
going to work
like
every day,
after 2000 is like, what do people wear nowadays? Like
everything random.
Yeah,
I feel like the early 2000s were more of a continuation of just the late 90s. I feel like
early 2000s,
like Ice Tips and Guy Fieri-esque shirts.
Early 2000s, yeah, early
cargo
2000s,
shorts,
even had
DC
its own
shoes.
thing.
Like everybody dressed like Rob Dyrdek.
Cargo shorts definitely were a thing in the 90s. Like that was definitely their big
But-
and if you go back to like the 80s, it was like tight. It was like short shorts, like guys in short shorts.
But the main idea is that they said starting in the 90s, they started wanting people to feel sad. And that's when antidepressants everywhere and
Nostalgia, everything.
all the cartoons are sad. Hey Arnold can make me cry. Hey Arnold can make a grown man cry. Did you ever watch Hey Arnold in the 90s?
No.
Well, you weren't a kid.
I was
anymore, so it makes
probably,
sense.
in 1990, I was
Still a kid.
6 years old, I think. Yeah, so.
I think it came out later. I'll look it up while.
Well, I think the kids shows just started introducing a lot more adult themes, and some shows tried to do it in like a
Yeah, I was in
kid-friendly
sixth grade at that point, so it was beyond
October
me.
7th,
I wouldn't have
1996.
seen it.
And a lot of people like to point to the Jewish themes in Hey Arnold. And it happened it premiered October 7th, 1996. Anyways.
Well, isn't Arnold Jewish?
No, Harold was.
Oh, okay.
Anything else for us, Turret? I just don't really want to continue talking about Silent Hill so specifically.
No, I don't have it. Well, I will say the girls in the mid 2000s looked pretty hot. They knew how to dress. There's nothing better than a young, sexy chica wearing some skin tight Abercrombie and Fitch clothes or Hollister clothes. That was pretty nice. And
what are girls wearing now? I'm sorry, but like
A lot less skin tight stuff, I'll say.
Okay.
Especially
Yeah.
jeans.
The mom jean is back.
Mom jeans, 90 jeans are back. Like really not
Not
loose fitting
Janko,
jeans.
not all the way to Janko baggy,
Okay.
but still pretty loose fitting.
I don't know.
compared to
Some
what they were.
insanity where I'm just like
I hate it. I loved seeing the girls in high school walk around in their outfits. They were so young and hot. And now all the girls wear their stupid, idiotic things where you can't see the silhouettes of their body.
This is the thing I've just recently learned about.
But like
is
Billie Eilish, I guess, like a Billie
Yes.
Eilish style. Where
Hey
they
man,
just wear
I feel for you, man. I want the short shorts back on the guys.
from the 80s.
Yeah, from
I
the
bet you
80s.
do. Yeah, but look, I mean, I can still kind of see at the gym with some of the girls because they're all wearing that compression.
It's because they want to be influencers now.
I have to say though, man, I give them a lot of respect. Just the females, man, the tight clothing, man. I wore. I mean, when I was like young, it was in the 80s, and man, tight clothing. I don't know how anybody puts up with it.
I wore tight clothing, like really tight clothing, all the time in high school, middle school, and then right after high school, and then it's like right then I was like, oh, things will look better on me if I just stop wearing them, like everything like skin tight. And it genuinely does look more like...
Oh, I don't think it looks better. I think it probably looks worse, but it's got to feel a lot better to wear looser clothing.
Skin tight clothing does not look good on you unless you were like bored thin. And I was
I see what you're saying. But you are. You're like...
But I'm more like feminine now. It's like I used to weigh 80 pounds as a same height.
Oh, I didn't know that you were... you had a weight on you at some point.
Oh, yeah. I was so skinny.
I mean, you're pretty... Yeah, you're... I mean, I'm a gay guy, and I'm telling you, you're pretty, so...
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I just think that what Turd likes is, like... It's not cute. It looks... It's definitely not just, like, the style change. It's not classy.
Your opinion doesn't count here because you're a woman.
Yeah, sure.
We gotta ask the straight guys here.
Sure.
Look, I don't know. I come from a time of yoga pants in school all the time, and, like... Chicks would wear just leggings all nonstop.
Or you could sometimes see their underwear in
I don't
understand.
I don't
understand the yoga pants. Like that just
the tight
is like
jeans.
I prefer yoga pants over skinny jeans, to be honest, but they have to be opaque.
But it was a lot of yoga pants and leggings.
I think yoga pants are great, especially when I can see the outline of the pants.
Yeah, the Han Solo look. They all wear black leggings with the UGG boots. And then they have a black vest and then maybe a white shirt. And when they're all in their little like girlfriend groups, it looks like a pack of Han Solos running around, drinking lattes. Yeah, drinking lattes.
I get it on the I get it on the top, but the bottom, that just seems like not
There is one thing
attractive
about
at all
it
to
that
me.
makes you look like really top heavy. It's like if you have any meat to you at all at the top, you're gonna look like you're gonna fall over and you're just
we're just assuming we're just assuming that we're talking about pretty women, pretty girls,
Yeah.
not
Okay. I think that even somebody who's pretty but just doesn't have very thick or like muscular legs can look kind of gross. And
see, but that's what was in, or I think kind of is in still, is like the thick girl, right? Like the bigger thighs, bigger butt. So that like those aren't the top heavy.
But
girls.
even like in like
that requires a certain
nice legs.
That requires a certain kink there. I mean,
definitely in like the 70s and 90s when rail thin was a thing, you'd still want like some muscle, like some definition to your legs. Like I think what people have never liked is like straight up chicken legs, like just skinny,
but now
no
it's
muscle,
like
no anything.
it's like it's not just tone, it's like thick
like
is what
some fat on you, but he's not saying like obese or anything.
Not obese, but compared to the 2000s women who were like, you know, the supermodel-esque 96-pound rail thin in the Abercrombie and Fitch jeans,
which is why
like the women who are attractive now, like Kim Kardashian could not fit in the Abercrombie and Fitch jeans.
No, but
considered
at her biggest, she isn't even in style anymore. Kim Kardashian at her biggest is still too thick for... It's like it leveled out because it was so crazy. If you were remotely feminine, you were called fat on tabloids in the 90s and in the early 2000s. And then it was like, we're taking this back. So now like obesity is in and like BBLs and like being so freaking thick that it's like near just being fat.
Do you not know who Lizzo is?
But now it went back to normal. It's like more normalized now, I think, because it had to happen.
I totally missed that. So I was hot for a while. Interesting.
No, you weren't.
Oh, wait. Well, I just thought you said
no.
obesity was
only
in.
the fat chicks were hot.
Oh yeah,
the fat men.
Okay,
you were still the bottom of the. You were still scum, dog. Don't get it twisted. We were still.
Hey, I don't care. I got myself a significant other, so I'm off.
You were not. You were not.
I'm off the playing field anyway.
We do have a caller on the line. So Tom from New Hampshire, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Good evening. On October 7th, 2003. U.S. Senator Judd Gregg's wife was abducted at knife point out of their home away from home in Virginia. And there was an investigation. Of course, the police responded. They eventually caught the suspect. But the U.S. Capitol Police also briefly investigated the attack. The reason being that their job is
Oh, and they were from New Hampshire. Wow, okay. So Kathleen Gregg, the wife of the U.S. Senator Judd Gregg from New Hampshire, was abducted at knife point from her home in McLean, Virginia on October 7th. All right, I've never heard of this.
Well,
so what's the point? Where are we going with this?
The U.S. Capitol Police are investigating in case it was a situation where somebody was trying to retaliate or intimidate or threaten or harass U.S. Senator Judd Gregg because of the performance of his duties, because they don't like the way he voted. Okay, now the reason I'm bringing that up is because that the crime happened in Virginia, far away from the U.S. Capitol, but the U.S. Capitol Police still have jurisdiction over these crimes. I think it's anywhere in the country. And I'm just kind of wondering.
Wait, what?
Because their job is to prosecute people who are trying to intimidate, harass, threaten, or whatever it is against members of Congress. Those crimes against members of Congress can be prosecuted by the U.S. Capitol Police. That's
but I don't necessarily know that means they have jurisdiction.
Well, they claim.
Well, I guess you can claim jurisdiction over a foreign entity. Yeah, I don't know. All right, but go on.
Okay, when members of Congress go to investigate Alligator Alley and the ICE goons chase them away and say, no, you can't come in there, aren't they committing a crime against those members of Congress by saying, no, you can't do your official duties of making sure that the ICE facility is up to spec? Okay, and could the members of Congress get the U.S. Capitol Police to go down there and arrest the guy at the gate who won't let them in?
Wow, so it looks like I found this article from 2003 where it says that they expanded their interdiction program. Expanded... What did they expand? The expansion of the Capitol. They expanded their jurisdiction for this, it looks like. Is that how you understand it?
Yeah, so I don't know if they can go out there, if they investigate, they get their official report. Trump might just might just pardon them anyway, but now that you've got the investigation and everything, the other thing that even if Trump pardons them, Congress can impeach and remove from office the ICE goons that chased away members of Congress.
Yeah, but it's not the police who would bring charges. It'd have to be a district attorney. Like the courts would have to charge. The Capitol Police could arrest the ICE agents, but it would be up to the courts to actually charge them with the crime and move that forward,
or at least prosecute for sure.
Or to prosecute them.
Yeah, and Trump would probably fire the prosecutor that does that, too, if it's a federal prosecutor. So, as opposed to just simply pardoning the ICE goons, which I wouldn't put it past them either, but Congress could impeach those ICE goons, and maybe they'd feel they're better off just letting the members of Congress go in. I believe I read about one situation where Democrats and Republicans went in together, and they came out with very different stories. So... you never know what to think.
Okay.
Yeah, they're never honest. I mean, why would they? Actually, that makes sense to a point. If they're just going to go in and lie about it anyways, who even cares if they're going in? Because they're just not going to tell us the truth about what they saw to begin with.
Well, some of them are telling the truth, and the other ones are lying, and we don't really know. Some of them are telling it's horrible inside, and some of them are saying, "Oh no, everything was fine inside." I don't know what they're talking about. The Republicans are saying that Trump is doing a wonderful job and ICE is doing everything up to spec. And the Democrats are saying, no, it's horrible, squalid conditions and people being underfed and less shackled for days at a time, stuff, or whatever they're saying it is. So if they impede the members of Congress from performing their official duties, can the U.S. Capitol Police get involved and arrest the ICE goons that won't let them into the facility?
Well, don't give them any ideas. Interesting. This also happened October 7th. Why is it getting brought up so much?
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it, but my understanding is the members of Congress do have the power to investigate those facilities, so they should be letting them in.
Well, interesting. Wait, who should be letting who in?
I believe the facilities that are I think prisons and detention centers. I believe the members of Congress have the authority to go in and like investigate them, like at basically any point they want, unannounced and everything.
Okay. Well, I don't like that idea, but you're not agreeing with it, right?
I don't know if I'm agreeing with anything he said. But as far as like them having the Congress critters having the power to go in, I mean, I don't know why that would be an issue.
But should the Capitol Police be involved? I think was his question. Or can they get involved?
Just because of, it's like almost like saying, "Oh, national security, now we can do it." Like,
I mean, the FBI has jurisdiction nationally, so what? I'm not sure what necessarily difference this necessarily makes, but
they said that it was first expanded in 1992. I kind of clicked off.
Well, I think the reason to get,
look, I don't think the FBI should be allowed in New Hampshire, but I guess, yeah,
exactly. That's why I kind of asked.
Yeah, right.
You're just saying you could see them making that claim, right?
Yeah. And I just don't know what difference it makes in terms of whether the FBI investigates it or the Capitol Police investigate.
Well,
right?
I think the idea is the Capitol Police is not under the thumb of Donald Trump, and they could circumvent his authorities. And
I don't know what the president has or doesn't have as far as like authority in this particular case.
I don't either.
The DOJ.
This is what
the DOJ is definitely under the president. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You need a prosecutor.
If the Capitol Police is not, that's news to me. So, and if they have the same jurisdiction basically as the FBI, that
law enforcement,
interesting,
right? Like I was saying, like all they do, all a cop really can do is suspect you of a crime, and then they can hold you on suspicion of a crime, and then it's up to the attorney to like prosecute the case.
Yeah,
and take it to the courts.
There's certainly
not saying like that's right or moral.
You're not like wrong, but there's definitely I think the way to phrase it is there is what's the word, like during Nazi Germany when they went after people like soldiers and things and people who helped Hitler, they had culpability basically. And I think it's kind of the same situation. The prosecutors have culpability just like the law enforcement agents.
Well, one thing I want to say is don't give them any ideas for more excuses to go after people and use
expand powers.
I don't think I need to give them any ideas for them.
Right, I agree. More Free Talk Live coming up, 603-283-6160. You can call in with whatever's on your mind. Don't go anywhere. Free Talk Live coming up.
Free Talk Live.
For the listeners, each talk show has like you're in the Joe Blow Army, or, the Ditto Heads. Do the lefties have it too?
I couldn't tell you.
Ed Heads, isn't?
Yep, Ed Heads.
Yeah, Ed Heads. So they all have them. I really want to hear from you.
I'd like to rename our listeners Mindless Free Talk Live Zombies. What do you think?
Free Talk Live automatons.
Call in if you're a mindless Free Talk Live zombie.
What does it mean to you to be left? What does it mean to you
progressive?
To be right? What does it mean to you to be conservative? What does it mean to you to be liberal? I think they're very vague concepts that pit people against one another. Many people who otherwise, in the absence of being able to plaster themselves with that label, might find out they've got an awful lot in common.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern at freetalklive.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Tony Waterman. According to New York Times sources, President Donald Trump is reviewing an option to send American forces into Iran to carry out raids. It's unclear if those raids would target government officials or even the supreme leader. The option carries new weight after U.S. forces captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro earlier this month. A strike fleet has already been positioned near Iran, and U.S. officials say the military is ready to carry out any orders from the president. Trump is demanding Iran end its nuclear program and stop killing demonstrators if it wants to avoid U.S. military action. Iran's foreign minister said on Friday that Tehran will not negotiate under threat and that its defense system will never be up for negotiation. President Trump has nominated Kevin Warsh, a banking executive, to head the U.S. Central Bank. Warsh was widely expected to secure the nod and is believed to share the president's desire to see U.S. interest rates fall more rapidly. FSN's Simon Marks reports.
President Trump has been hinting for days at the possibility that Kevin Warsh is his choice to replace Jerome Powell as the chairman of the Fed. Now he's confirmed it. Over his social media account, the president said he expects Mr. Warsh to go down as one of the great Fed chairmen, maybe the best. The president described his selection as coming from central casting, a possible reference to Mr. Warsh's clean-cut professional appearance, but also to his background. He's a former Fed governor and a senior figure at the investment bank Morgan Stanley. Certainly President Trump is hoping that Mr. Warsh will prove loyal to his demands for lower interest rates, though when the president's selection faces confirmation hearings on Capitol Hill, many lawmakers will want to know whether he's willing to protect the central bank's independence or make it a political arm of the Trump administration.
Former CNN anchor Don Lemon is in custody after being arrested in connection with his reporting during the recent Minneapolis ICE protests. The 59-year-old's lawyer says Mr. Lemon has done nothing wrong and insists he is protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. FSN's Mitch McCann reports.
The charges that the Justice Department chose to file were not immediately clear, but Don Lemon's lawyer says they will be fought vigorously in court. The former TV anchor was arrested in Los Angeles on Thursday, where he was there to cover the Grammy Awards. It's reported the arrest is in relation to Mr. Lemon's coverage of an ICE protest that took place inside a Minneapolis church in recent weeks. It's reported that following the protest, a federal judge initially declined to sign off on an arrest warrant for Mr. Lemon. Former colleagues and lawmakers have defended the broadcaster.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, ending the week with a very sober warning about the rapidity of developments in the field of artificial intelligence. A new poll this week showed that more than a quarter of all workers in Britain fear they will lose their jobs to AI in the next 5 years. And this week alone, Amazon announced a further 16,000 job losses, mainly in America, because of AI. This was the week when Geoffrey Hinton, the so-called godfather of AI, predicted that virtually every single job on the planet is going to be replaced by the industry that he now regrets having sparked.
Already we're seeing starting jobs in many professions like lawyers being taken over by AI. Most experts believe that sometime within the next 20 years, quite possibly within 10 years, we'll have superintelligence, something better than us, and that will be able to do any new job that's created. It'll be all of them. The big tech companies are thinking, if we can be the first to get really good AI, human-level AI, we can make a lot of money selling AI to companies so that they can replace workers. As far as I can see, that's the only place they can get their huge investments back. They're not thinking about the social consequences of that. They're assuming somehow the state will take care of it, but I don't see how it can.
What does all that mean for youngsters trying to position themselves for the future? Geoffrey Hinton's got ideas for them, and you'll hear those on Monday.
And a recap of today's headlines. The New York Times is reporting that President Trump is reviewing an option to send U.S. troops into Iran for targeted raids. President Trump has nominated banking exec Kevin Warsh to head the U.S. Central Bank. Like Trump, Warsh says interest rates should be lower. Former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with his reporting during Minneapolis ICE protests. That's Feature Story News' Tony Waterman reporting.
Here is the Onion Weekend Review Transportation Edition. In Albany, a Greyhound bus crash claimed 30 miserable lives Tuesday, finally putting over 24 deadbeat fathers, penniless drug addicts, and hapless bastards out of their misery. Emergency crews at the scene of the merciful accident described the sea of fast food bags, candy bar wrappers, and losing lottery tickets surrounding the crash site as utterly tragic, adding that the scorched corpses inside the bus were, quote, only slightly more lifeless than before the deadly accident.
Evidence suggests that most of the victims suffered during the crash, and for many years before they even boarded the bus. All I can say is, thank God no one made it.
Al-Qaeda is refusing to carry out any further terrorist attacks until the U.S. mass transportation infrastructure is drastically improved, calling the country's roads and bridges a, quote, travesty, unbecoming of a developed first world nation.
We want to turn your bridges into rubble. But if we took credit for making them collapse, no one would ever believe us.
This is the Onion News Network.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 is the phone number to bring up, or to call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. Yeah, to bring up whatever's on your mind with us. 603-283-6160. Are you tired of the oppressive rules and moderation of the big tech social media sites? Our Mastodon server at social.freetalklive.com can set you free. Mastodon is free, open source, decentralized, and federated. Multiple apps are available for iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, and Linux. Social.freetalklive.com. And with you on Free Talk Live, you've got me, Bonnie.
Angelo.
And Mr. Penguin.
And we already have a caller on the line, so let's go to the phones. We have Sarah in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yes, I just want to bring up that, pension is a communist program. And our pensions have been going away.
Okay, the idea of a pension period, no.
What?
But the idea of a government pension, see what I'm saying? Because it's like the government guarantees you'll have an income for life, even if you just work for our job for like 10 years. Don't you think that's communist, Mr. Penguin?
Well, I'm talking about that. When I was 9 years old, back then everybody got a pension from a private company. And it was for dollars that you put in, and you got $1 back.
You put your own money in.
It was common. It wasn't universal, but yeah.
But you put your own money in, according to Sarah. So what is that?
Well, no.
Retirement fund?
I think, sorry, you're describing a 401k actually, as far as putting $1 in and getting $1 out from the company, basically. But pensions were usually, and still are to some degree, to whatever degree they exist. Not many companies offer them anymore, but they're usually funded by the companies that you work for, so it's a benefit of the job. So they basically, they put in money and set aside for your retirement, and then they pay you out until your death. A certain amount until you die, basically. Whereas a 401k, you get a set amount from your employer, and often it's a 401k matching, which means that you put in something and then they put in something. But nonetheless, that amount can eventually run out, though, potentially. So it's whereas the pension in theory doesn't run out, so they pay you until you die. Whereas the 401k, you could end up running out of money if there's not enough money in your 401k.
So this is a communist program, and they stole all this money, and nobody cares about it.
Yeah, but that's voluntary. That changes the entire. You volunteered to sign up for this program.
How is it? I'm trying to understand something. How is this communist? This doesn't
from the government, not in a private company. I feel like it is a communist thing with the way that they do it with their their government jobs because they're like, if you work our government job for 10 years, we'll guarantee that the next generation of people getting government jobs will pay for your pension, and then you need to recruit more.
Like you guys are talking about, I think this is a major problem that we're talking about, but I don't necessarily know if it's specifically communist.
I mean, that's a good point. But here's another thing I have to say. It's like kind of like a pyramid scheme in a way. The way that Jay explained to me the teachers unions in Massachusetts, maybe this is everywhere, but Jay specifically had info on the teachers unions in Massachusetts. They had incentive to get more people to become teachers, or else their pensions weren't going to get paid by the new people coming in and paying the union.
Well, it's okay. So I think one of the problems that you're kind of describing here is that the larger the union is, the more power the union has, and the more influence they have, right? So they can. But
also people paying in order to keep the top paid. Like if not enough people become teachers the next year, say we just lower the funds for the public schools because, well, we found out that it doesn't actually raise testing scores or whatever.
Sure.
They're going to fight against that hardcore because, in part, their pyramid scheme they got going on with their pensions. See what I mean? Because they need newbies. It's like a pyramid scheme. You need newbies.
No, I see what she's saying. Like, if you don't have new people to pay for the retirees.
Yeah, no. So
then you don't have
So there's something called a funded pension, and there's something called an unfunded pension, or liability anyway. I actually know a little bit about this, surprisingly. So in New Jersey, the pension fund is basically it was supposed to be funded by the state, but they basically took, I don't know if you guys know about Social Security, but like how they've been stealing from Social Security to pay for other programs.
Yeah.
Well, New Jersey's basically been doing the same kind of thing with the New Jersey pension fund for teachers, basically.
Whoa.
So because they did not fund the pension for 20 years, they basically don't have any money left in their pension fund to pay out the teachers that now are retiring. So basically the cost of this is astronomical to taxpayers, because ultimately either one of two things have to happen. The teachers they lose their pension, or the state has to fund that pension fund. They have to put money into the pension fund that they haven't been doing for 20 years. And in the process also stole money over the last 20 years. I mean, it's certainly,
you guys are making excuses.
A scam of some way.
Look, you guys are saying it's okay for them to get ripped off of their pensions for whatever reason that they come up with.
I'm not saying that.
I don't think we said that at all.
In fact,
actually,
I think that it's funny because Chris and Angelo and I are saying, communism scam, same thing. Like almost same thing, not Chris saying that.
I think a better way to phrase this is that the sort of the special interest, they're special interest group is what they are, and they've basically manipulated their way into undeserved monies through the benefits that teachers get. In the real world, if you look at the benefits for teachers, at least in New Jersey, it's astronomical to what they've been promised, and it's outside.
I tell you that this is communist agenda, because when I used to go to Communist Party meetings, that was one of the things that the Communist Party funded for was Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, and pensions.
Well,
like the way that we used to have.
Government-funded pensions, is that what the Communist Party would want? Or is that what you're saying?
Okay, well, you're how old are you? I'm
29.
56. Okay, so when I was 9 years old, I remember when Reagan was there, almost like 90% of the people got pensions from the company. $1 you put in, it was not a 401k. We used to get $1 back. Now it's disappeared, and nobody knows what's going on, and nobody really cares because they're taking away a communist program. So I'm just bringing it up. They're getting ripped off. I talked to like UPS.
Yes,
if the company wants, it's a socialist program through the company. The company is funding it, and you're gonna.
I don't know if you call it socialist.
I don't know either.
Right?
It's just
socialist. I think it would be fair to say when you participate voluntarily,
or you're just using. If you're giving $1 and you're going to get $1 back, then you're effectively just using your pension as a bank. It's a bank account.
Yeah,
that's
like
your saving.
I had a fund like that with IHG.
I don't think you can call it. I don't think you can call a pension or a 401k or any of that is socialist. That's more capitalist. But the
why would you be that? Because they twisted your mind. When I went to the Communist Party. In the Communist paper,
But this is the thing. Me and Chris are kind of
was a communist plan.
It's voluntary.
Yeah, if it's voluntary
It's
within
voluntary,
the company that
yeah.
and you're putting in and stuff, that is not communist. But when it's the government saying that they'll continue paying their employee who worked for 10 years for life, don't you think that's a little different than like if I got IHG, I was paying in, and my other employees were fellow employees were paying in.
A better example of something that sort of is socialist sort of leaning. I don't know if I call it socialist, but would be health insurance. And that is
right?
within the however, it's got to be within the context of sort of you're paying into a system, but what you might get more from it than you put in, but you might also lose.
Lose out.
Because you're basically socializing the costs over a large group of people. Now, in theory,
Medicaid, Medicare is basically free health care for people that need it.
It's not free. You've paid into it over the course of your working career.
You're young. You're paying into it. When you're old and you need it, it's there for you. When your health goes bad, the Medicaid pays for your nursing home or medicine or doctor's visit. When you need it, when you get into a wreck and you need blood, that's all paid for by Medicaid. So it's a communist philosophy. Everybody pays in when they're able to work.
Yeah, but you don't necessarily have to have that forced and mandated by government. You can do that through the private system as well.
That's how I feel about
I pay
healthcare,
for
too.
health insurance out of my own pocket. I'm a self-employed individual, basically. I mean, technically, the corporation I work for pays for it. But anyway, the point that I'm making is
Your own one, though, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have 100% shares of the company. So, but anyway, the point is that ultimately you're paying into these systems through your employment, health insurance, for example, if you get health insurance from a company. But if you don't, and say you're self-employed in the sense that you don't work for a corporation, you just work for yourself, you're still, when you get health insurance, you're paying an amount out of your own pocket to get that health insurance, and you're joining a socialist scheme, basically, but it's voluntary, and there's nothing wrong with that. The thing that's wrong is when it's mandated by law, when you're forced to participate.
So let me try to understand this. Okay, Obama was accused of being a communist socialist, and his Obama health plan, what's the big deal? That the whole thing was going to end.
Because it's mandated by law. That's the problem. It's not.
The problem is that the poor people that are making less money, now they have to pay higher insurance rate to get the benefits. So the low income people, they just get asked out. They get shoveled out of all the healthcare benefits because they're poor. They don't qualify. They don't get the help. And that's what the big
So backing up a moment, one of the problems with this is that basically most people in America, they're not poor. It's only a very, very small percentage. The reason that you don't have much in terms of income, the people that we consider to be poor, which is a good percentage of the population, let's say it's a third, right? Just for argument's sake. A third of the population is poor, but most of that's because the government is stealing through various means. It's called taxes, but many of these taxes are hidden taxes. So, for example, it may be that you're paying a certain percentage of sales tax. Now, that's not really a hidden tax, but the point is
The gas tax, I would say, is a pretty hidden tax.
It's not well advertised. You're right, gas taxes, but it is on the receipt, so it's not. I don't know if I'd call it hidden.
What
but
about,
there's certainly other hidden taxes.
What about like the cell phone ones? That was one that somebody pointed out to me as a tax I'm paying, and I was like, oh. Well,
there's a lot of things
there's
a lot of things you don't even know about. Just for example, tariffs are a form of tax. So the prices on the goods in the store is about 13% of that. Well, it may be even higher now, but so the first time around when Trump instituted the tariffs under his first presidency, it basically caused a price increase across a Walmart of about 13%. So about 13% of your okay, this is not a perfect analogy, but it's about 13% of your income, for the sake of argument, is basically being stolen from you through taxation that you don't know about, right? And now, if you add up all the taxes that you do and don't know about, it ends up being something like 90%. So think about it this way: if your income more than doubles, even the people in the bottom 1/3, most of those people are going to have enough money to cover their costs themselves, and they wouldn't need government programs. The only reason that most of these people need government programs is because the government itself has caused the cost of these programs to rise because of the inefficiencies. If you let this all occur through free market and voluntary participation, you'd have more efficient systems. And for example, somebody who's on the street needs a house over the they need a roof over their head more than they need health insurance. Basically, those people would end up putting that money into a house over their head so they don't get sick in the first place, and not waste it on health insurance that they don't need. Right? It's not to say that some people definitely need health insurance, but it depends on the individual, and these programs don't take that into consideration. They're just sort of universal, and then they end up wasting a lot of money as a result. So that's why voluntary programs are kind of a better voluntary socialist type programs are a way better approach than mandated government programs.
Well, I agree that it's much better as well. And still, I'm not sure if the state-funded ones cover the word communist, but I understand why Sarah would say that the communists like it,
Well, especially if it has the weight of a union behind it. Mm-hmm. Like the union is going to force the company to do a pension. That would be like
she's not wrong.
Workers unite idea.
She's definitely not. I think her sentiment isn't necessarily wrong here. Like a lot of this stuff does come from the unions, and that's the reason you have pensions is because of early 1900s, maybe late 1800s, unions basically fighting for those pensions. So like
the labor unions, guess who built the unions? The Communist Party. The Communist Party of America, they fought for the pension.
And Sarah, like I think what you have to one of the things you should understand about like libertarians is I wouldn't say we're against unions entirely. Like so unions are a good tool in a free market to fight back against oppressive corporations and like capitalism, but you want to make sure that it's not being done through government or regulation. And so what you're talking about when it comes to pensions is it was never done traditionally. It was never done through government. It was mostly done anyway through protests, walkouts, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like
strikes.
Right. And that's actually a good, that's actually kind of a good solution to the sort of the problem of, labor not having a lot of, power in the relationship between employers and employees. But
all they ever taught me in school, seriously, over and over again, I was always excited for American history specifically. It was like, the robber barons. The robber barons are evil, and that's why we had to make unions. They taught me that so many times over and over again.
And you know what? Some of this is true, right? Like some of that.
Yes, people were being taken advantage of.
People were being taken advantage of, but that doesn't necessarily mean the solution. The solution might have some of the solutions to some of those problems might have been legal ones because lands were literally just being outright stolen from people.
Well, but what the government does is they'll use immigration to union bust. They did it in the 1900s. That's why they imported so many Irish. Well, sure, because the Irish would work for pennies.
And this is the thing, though. We need free. This is one of the reasons why we need free. We don't want just free trade. We want free libertarians anyway. We want free movement of people as well. So you not only you can compete, and basically, and this is the thing, what I think Americans sometimes fail to understand is we are some of the best educated people in the world, right? Like you do not have a problem competing with foreigners. You are basically complaining about something that is almost an artificial concern that doesn't, for the most part, exist. When we import labor, for example, it actually benefits Americans because then those Americans end up with better paying jobs, over time because you end up having there's less cost to the production, which ends up benefiting everybody, but it also ends up benefiting them in the sense of, well, now there's more management, right? And so there's more better paying jobs. It's not all negative. I don't, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I don't think the trickle down theory of like Hatcher, this is somebody in the UK a long time ago. Anyway, 80s anyway. I think a lot of that was kind of nonsense. It was ridiculous. But it doesn't necessarily mean there's no truth. It's entirely false, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Like, workers should be able to come together and say, hey, we want to work, we want to talk to you, the boss, we're not being treated fairly, and this is what, throw your weight around. They should be allowed to do that.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. But at the same time, the employer should be allowed to go and say, okay, you're fired.
Right, exactly.
And it's
but if they say, okay, you're fired because the government is funding people to come here and work under the table for less dollars.
Well, then let's solve that problem by stop funding them, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. There are
welfare.
There are problems, but the solutions that the communists and the people on the left want to shove down our throat are really, really terrible solutions. Right. And I don't want to give anybody the idea that I am on the right. I am not on the right, not by a long shot. The people, the Republicans, the conservatives, they have a lot of terrible ideas too, and a lot of them are very similar to the people on the left.
They're socialists too. They want to socialize police protection.
They definitely, the people on the right are definitely socialist. They just don't perceive themselves to be socialist.
They do not believe they are.
The Conservative Party doesn't exist. The Overton window shifts every 20 years.
And
nothing ever gets conserved.
Republicans
all you got to do,
socialist than they think.
start talking about Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security with Republicans, and all of a sudden you will get a response that is like, "Oh, I thought you were conservative or Republican," and they're like, "What do you mean? I am?" No, you're talking socialism here, buddy.
Well, I think they're upset that they're 50, and if we turned it off now, then they've already paid X amount of dollars into it, and they want to get the money they got.
Yeah, right. But and I totally agree. I totally agree.
Socialism.
The problem is it is a pyramid scheme, right? Yeah. And so that money that you put in, you were deceived basically, and you shouldn't. Look, I don't want to be like, okay, like I get it, and we probably need a solution to this problem of all these people being deceived. But at the same time, it's like
it has to end at some point.
Yeah, right. It's like,
and you're selling your grandchildren out. It's like, wouldn't you rather be a little less comfortable than ruin your grandchildren's future?
Yeah. And maybe one of the solutions to the problem is to pay out everybody, right? To whatever degree that there's money in the in that system, right?
What do you mean, like pay them all the rest they would get until they died, or something?
One lump sum kind of situation, right? So
and end it there.
Yeah. And the problem here, mind you, is that you're going to get a percentage, right? Because the money does. So one of the problems is the money doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
You were putting into it, but it was going out the moment you put it into that system. And so now what we have is a situation where there's no money. The only way you're going to get a Social Security is basically by stealing from me, meaning me as in the sense that the working population, right? And the original people who put into it got paid out to people who never actually paid into it in the first place. So every successive generation is basically being harmed effectively by this system. And it's a terrible system, if you ask me.
Well, and it blows up really quickly if you make it impossible to have kids. So suddenly there's more workers to feed the beast than there are old people.
So the system as implemented actually works to the degree that you have a replacement population.
Yep.
The problem is we don't have a replacement population. Right. Yep. And this is what makes it a sort of a pyramid scheme or something similar to it. And in that we don't have, so think about it this way. Past generations, they had 9 kids, and then more recent generations 5, and then 4, and then 3, then 2. Now we don't even have one. It's like something like 1 point something kids per person, or something like that. Or per couple. That would be correct. Which means that you don't have enough money going into the system to cover not pensions. To cover the, what are we talking about? Social Security. Of people who are now retiring. So. Yeah, it's one big scam. That's one big scheme, and
like a lot of the government.
Yeah.
Scams and schemes. Thank you for the call, Sarah, from New Mexico. More Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. Call in with whatever's on your mind. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere.
Hey. You are going to love the movie Victimless Crime Spree. It's hilarious, heartwarming, and carries a ton of inspiring freedom messages. Feeling down about the lack of liberty in your life? You need to put on this film with some friends and have a good laugh. It's a true story about me and my friends in New Hampshire living free, singing, dancing, and getting arrested. Of course, it's all on video, and the bad guys, the cops, judges, bailiffs, and sheriffs, they all play their part like it's out of a movie or something. You would think we scripted the whole thing, but it's real life. Go ahead and have a watch, and if it's been a while, have another look. I guarantee you'll notice things now that you didn't notice before. And the best part is that you're going to walk away feeling a renewed sense of your own power. You are the master of your destiny, and you will be free in your lifetime. Victimless Crime Spree.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Tony Waterman. According to New York Times sources, President Donald Trump is reviewing an option to send American forces into Iran to carry out raids. It's unclear if those raids would target government officials or even the supreme leader. The option carries new weight after U.S. forces captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro earlier this month. A strike fleet has already been positioned near Iran, and U.S. officials say the military is ready to carry out any orders from the president. Trump is demanding Iran end its nuclear program and stop killing demonstrators if it wants to avoid U.S. military action. Iran's foreign minister said on Friday that Tehran will not negotiate under threat and that its defense system will never be up for negotiation. President Trump has nominated Kevin Warsh, a banking executive, to head the U.S. Central Bank. Warsh was widely expected to secure the nod and is believed to share the president's desire to see U.S. interest rates fall more rapidly. FSN's Simon Marks reports.
President Trump has been hinting for days at the possibility that Kevin Warsh is his choice to replace Jerome Powell as the chairman of the Fed. Now he's confirmed it. Over his social media account, the president said he expects Mr. Warsh to go down as one of the great Fed chairmen, maybe the best. The president described his selection as coming from central casting, a possible reference to Mr. Warsh's clean-cut professional appearance, but also to his background. He's a former Fed governor and a senior figure at the investment bank Morgan Stanley. Certainly President Trump is hoping that Mr. Warsh will prove loyal to his demands for lower interest rates, though when the president's selection faces confirmation hearings on Capitol Hill, many lawmakers will want to know whether he's willing to protect the central bank's independence or make it a political arm of the Trump administration.
Former CNN anchor Don Lemon is in custody after being arrested in connection with his reporting during the recent Minneapolis ICE protests. The 59-year-old's lawyer says Mr. Lemon has done nothing wrong and insists he is protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. FSN's Mitch McCann reports.
The charges that the Justice Department chose to file were not immediately clear, but Don Lemon's lawyer says they will be fought vigorously in court. The former TV anchor was arrested in Los Angeles on Thursday, where he was there to cover the Grammy Awards. It's reported the arrest is in relation to Mr. Lemon's coverage of an ICE protest that took place inside a Minneapolis church in recent weeks. It's reported that following the protest, a federal judge initially declined to sign off on an arrest warrant for Mr. Lemon. Former colleagues and lawmakers have defended the broadcaster.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
You can help spread the ideas of liberty with our Patreon for just $5 per month at amps.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control in 603-283-6160 is the phone number. That's 603-283-6160. That's the number to call to bring up whatever's on your mind. I got it. Oh, my first session for a tattoo to be removed today. Everybody likes to tell you that it hurts more than getting a tattoo. It doesn't. anymore. I understand why they thought that because it used to. And the lasers they have now, they are like more powerful but less painful. I'm so excited about it. I'm going to have only one tiny 1 inch by 1 inch tattoo on my arm and no giant eagle tattoo on my back. I wonder if listeners even knew that about me. I hate it. It was a bad decision.
Yeah, Bonnie's really a bad girl, and
oh my god,
she doesn't look it, but yeah, behind the scenes, man. I can only imagine your youth.
Yeah, exactly. I was 19 and 22 when I got my tattoos, so it was just like bad youth decisions. Not even like a drunk decision or anything like that. Just like something I was like, I kind of think I don't like this. Right as soon as it was over with, kind of think I don't like this. I'm going to try to ignore that feeling. Never, ever grew on me. I didn't like it. But with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Angelo.
And Mr. Penguin.
And also the friendship tattoos with people I'm not friends with anymore. So that's always great. And he said he gets that every day.
It does seem like a kind of a terrible idea.
How many Nazis does he get? I feel like he probably gets a ton of like people who get out of prison and are like, bro, I need all this stuff removed.
That's such a great point because he said there are people that kill themselves over it. I think he's doing a great service to people. He doesn't give tattoos. He's only a tattoo remover. And his point was it's a racer head in Brattleboro. If you want to know,
you gotta explain to me, how does this actually work? Like, is this like a doctor type person, or is this like somebody who just removes tattoos with
some sort of who has a laser and he rents a space and you find him on the internet and in fact there's not even a sign for the door, so it seemed a little sketchy, but he was really professional and everything seemed clean.
Sure.
I was really happy with my experience, and it's painful, but he's not creepy or I don't know how to explain it. He's not weird.
It's like clean and like looks professional. Seems legit.
He's like an older guy.
Okay.
I'm not
feels legit. Seems legit. Is legit. Why do I need to see a government? Why do I need a government to tell me that he's cleared to do tattoo removals?
Oh yeah, no.
He probably has a license, but
I don't know what the. I don't even know what the procedure looks like, right? Like, I mean, I kind of get it, like it's a laser, but
sounds like one snap. It literally sounds like a snap, and it's so loud. I was like plugging my ears. It's not so loud. It's a weird noise because it shoots photons at you so fast that it's like it makes a sound wave.
So the closest thing I've ever experienced personally to lasers on body parts, or I had LASIK surgery when I was young.
Oh.
Yeah, so
and already ran out or whatever.
Yes,
ran out, but reversed.
Yeah, so if you ever get LASIK, you do need to be aware, and they will tell you this before you get it. It's only good for a certain period of time, like a decade maybe or so. You may be able to do. They'll basically try and sell you on like, oh well, then you can get touch ups and things like that. But ultimately at the end of the day, honestly, like you get older and you don't really care anymore.
So you could get it again if you wanted, but.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a certain amount of risk to it. To be honest, like okay, so I'm trying to think what they're called.
Riley
lenses.
needs you to bring him to the grocery store. You can't rely on Riley to bring you. So
I don't
risk
know.
it.
I mean, Riley's pretty good these days.
Nice.
He can do his own shopping. He might be able to help me if I do go blind. But
imagine Chris went blind from LASIK and Riley showed him how to get around the grocery store.
Yeah, so it's a reverse.
And Riley would get paid back against you too.
Yeah, right. He'd be able to pay me back for all the time I spent with him teaching
forcing him to be independent.
Yeah, honestly, it's not
the master becomes the student, and now you get to.
Yeah, it's not. Honestly, it's not even me like going around. So let's back up a second. So Riley's a co-host on this show, and he's blind anyway, and I regularly, like probably like once a week or so, I take him grocery shopping, and he's I've been very encouraging him to,
he's been very pushing the baby out of the nest.
Yeah. Anyway, and here's the thing, like everybody always tries to do stuff for you when you're blind, and it's like, it kind of steals your independence from you, and I think Riley appreciates it. But I've been encouraging him to, don't let me show you. You just do it. Like you learn yourself, right? And so it's not even me like showing him where stuff is. It's him just walking or wandering around a grocery store, figuring out where things are. And then next time, he gets faster at it, a little bit faster. And
is he using his glasses still?
Yeah, and he's he does have some tools to help him. He's got these I hate these things, but they're the one good thing they're good for is for somebody who's blind.
That's a good point. Yesterday I said I would like click and delete anything AI, and I was like, dang it, the only good thing I can think of is like for blind people, and maybe there's some other disabilities that help people.
Yeah.
I don't like anything else AI does.
There's two solutions basically to reading sort of text and things for people who are blind. One of them is a phone app, and one of them is the AI glasses. And so he's got these AI glasses, like
but he already
Facebook
had his phone
or whatever.
reading him stuff before
Meta
AI.
glasses.
He did. The AI glasses do work better though. So and the thing is, you kind of need them in order to read the labels.
Mm-hmm.
So and there's some things that you have to read the labels on in order to, because the containers are the same. So, but one of the things I was trying to tag him to do so he's actually can do it himself, is that he needs to rely not only on, so the skills he had before was basically finding where stuff is, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is then he started relying on the glasses too much, and he's unable to find where this stuff is. So I'm like, okay, Riley, don't forget, you need to rely on your old skills and the new ones, the glasses, right?
Together.
So yeah, it's like it's not me really going around showing him where stuff is. It's just me encouraging him to, take the time and energy to figure it out yourself.
He's the most independent
Oh my
blind
gosh!
person I've ever seen.
And I was impressed with him today with you.
Oh yeah, he came. I drove him to the local burger, but I didn't guide him in, and he found his way in.
Right, for the most part, and it's a little dangerous there, so it was good that you were watching him a little bit. But he can even do that for the most part by himself almost.
We do have a caller, so I'm going to go to the phones. Unscreened caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What is on your mind?
Yeah, technology. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Yeah, what's up?
Technology.
Yeah, technology. So, picking up where we left off, in past conversations, things that I'm having problems with technology, and you might have a handle on. One of the things we were talking about was the forthcoming satellite direct to mobile. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Satellite direct to mobile, which I don't know if you've kept up with what's going on with that, but the news that I read.
I was going to say, is there news? Is there new news?
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
And so at this point, whether people are aware of it or not, the major carriers pretty much all have satellite direct to cell messaging.
Yeah.
And but they don't yet have full data satellite direct to mobile.
Yeah, it's expensive to do data. So it's expensive to do voice too, especially voice. But data is expensive, so you wouldn't want to do that. You'd only want to do basic text messaging kind of stuff.
But they are going to do it. They are if you
full on data. They're not going to do. Let's see. You can do it for. The costs. You're right. The costs have dropped. So I guess you might be able to do it, but it's still going to be way more expensive than the local cellular signal costs the carriers. So it's still going to be something that is secondary, not primary, as far as functionality is concerned.
True, but the satellite direct to mobile messaging is a secondary backup, because the way that your phones work right now is that if you are where there is cell signal and you get a text message, it will go through the normal channels.
Yep.
If you are out of signal range, then it will automatically go through the satellite and you'll still get it anyway. It's included in the premium plans from the premium carriers. And if you don't have a premium plan at a premium carrier, then you can pay like $10 for the add-on. That's where we're at now. And
it just sounds like they've built sat phones into your regular cell phone.
Yeah,
or like the same technology.
Yeah, basically, more or less. I think this is a more modern technology, but yeah.
Oh well, I've used sat phones like hiking and camping, like deep woods. So like I know like they do have direct satellite messaging. Like,
I've had that for decades and decades.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But those phones are expensive, and so is the service.
Oh yeah, they're like $300-$400. Just for the phone.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But this is your current cell phones that you have in your possession. If you have a flagship phone at a flagship carrier buying their flagship service, you already have it on your existing phone. They have built the capability in many cases. Already in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And also some are doing that way. There's also it has been designed that it works with your normal phone that didn't have the chipsets for the satellite built into it.
What?
Now coming up in the Now coming up in the say what?
That doesn't make any sense to me. How would that work? No, there's no way that could work. I mean, if the chip doesn't have the satellite capabilities, it's not going to be able to communicate with the satellite.
Okay, well
if it's an eSIM,
this has nothing to do with eSIMs.
Okay.
Here's what I know from doing extensive reading until I couldn't find any new information, and that is that the satellite direct-to-mobile messaging as a backup in some instances, meaning whatever combination of carrier and plan and phone that you have, in some instances, it works with whatever phone you bought, even though you never knew that it had that capability.
Oh, yeah.
That's
because it wasn't turned on. It's not that it didn't exist or it wasn't in the chip. It was still in the chip. It just, they basically deployed the technology long before it was, activated or available as a service.
Exactly. So now going into the future, if you want to keep an eye on mobile devices, phones that come out in the near future, what people like myself are waiting for, because we're in the know, we've been reading the news, is we're looking for the new generation of phones that come equipped with the chipset that allows the satellite direct-to-mobile full-service data. And that's coming out apparently in this year, this next quarter. Start watching. If not this quarter, then the next quarter. It's coming out soon from what I read.
Yeah, this is not the kind of thing that I'm terribly into. I just don't care. And also,
right, I am.
But I get the technology. I just not terribly interested in it.
Right. So Starlink, right? Because I'm a Starlink user, and when satellite is capable direct to mobile, then I don't need to lug around the Starlink setup.
Oh, that's not going to be a replacement for the Starlink setup.
Yes, it will.
Okay.
It won't be.
The performance is not going to. The performance is not going to be there.
Correct. It will not be as high speed as the Starlink traditional setup. Whether the base unit, mobile unit, backpacking unit, the mini unit, whatever. It won't be as fast as those.
Yeah.
But it will be fast. It will be fast enough to do, for instance, to do business. It may not be fast. I mean, it'll affect your.
So I'm gonna back up and just say I don't actually know what the performance differences are. I just know that there's definitely going to be a performance difference.
Right. But I have read about the performance differences, and it will be fast enough. Like if you're a business.
Do you have any idea what those speeds will be? Like I'm thinking like I don't even know, like 90s era dial up. Not even that probably.
No, I get the impression, I don't remember the exact numbers, but when I read it and I filed whatever I can recall from when I read it, the impression I got is like I live off the grid and I'm talking to you right now. I'm using the internet right now. I'll do it for every different thing I do. And what I got is I have two devices and it goes back and forth between 4G and 5G.
Yeah.
And then the cellular side, like right now I got 4 bars on my other device. I'm sure it says 3, and then it usually goes down as low as 2. Occasionally I see 1, and my speeds are such that, to give you one example, if I want to go on YouTube and keep increasing the quality of the video, and then especially if I want to watch it at a faster than 1x speed, for instance, if I want to watch it at faster than 1x speed, the highest quality that I can go is like 720. I can't go to 1080 and then go faster than 1x. If I want to watch 1080, I gotta.
So have you done just like a speed test?
No, it doesn't have the service yet. It's not out.
I haven't bothered, but I can. If you want to put it in megs a second.
I'd be surprised if you get megs a second, but go ahead.
I'm sorry, megs a minute. So the service I described to you right now,
probably talking about kilobits a second, but.
No, megabit. It's 30 megs a minute. Yeah, 30 megs a minute. So half a. I don't
think they would have advertised anything in that as 30 megs a minute. You probably advertise at kilobits a second or megabits a second.
Okay, I'm telling you what I'm getting. I'm getting 30 megs a minute on the mobile devices that I described to you, which is, and the point is that's obviously slower than currently.
Yeah, that's probably 4G.
Yeah, but isn't that not related to these satellite ones? Because
it isn't. It's completely separate.
Yeah, I thought so.
I'm trying to tell you what I know. I'm trying to finish. So that's what I have.
Right.
And obviously that's slower than your home internet, which can be 100 times faster. And the impression that I got from the news is that the satellite direct to mobile will be trying to maintain what I have now. It won't get faster, likely.
Okay, so they're trying to maintain 30 megabits per second from a satellite?
Yeah.
Okay. I will be shocked if they have those kind of speeds, but look, I don't know the technology well enough. The advancements in the satellite technology, these are low Earth satellites as opposed to the high Earth satellites. So there's going to be lower latency in theory, and higher latency for the older technology. But I don't know. Like I would be surprised that they're able to get 30 megabits per second. But I mean, so satellite. All right, so. Low Earth orbit satellites are like Starlink. You can get 100 megabits a second, maybe. So if I would think it would be like a fraction of that, because you have to have a big dish in order to use a Starlink, right? So when you shrink it down into something the size of a cell phone, I would expect you to have drastically worse reception, and the data rates are going to go way down. But I don't know for sure.
Well, do you have more you want to talk about this, or do you want to talk about the VPN?
I think we should go on to the VPN.
Thank you for the call, David. And go ahead, Chris. Where did this article come from?
Yeah, so this is coming from reclaimthenet.org, and the title of the story is UK House of Lords votes to extend age verification to VPNs.
So they already made these age verifications on sites.
Yeah.
And now they want to extend that to VPNs.
Yes. So basically in the UK, if you go to Facebook or you go to some other social media site, right? YouTube maybe, you're going to have to basically, this is actually already started I believe.
You got to use your digital ID to log on, right? That's tied to your...
you have to verify your ID somehow.
They say a digital ID, but basically what they're doing is they're saying you got to present them with an ID, right? Like your driver's license, right? In order to get on Facebook. It's absolutely insane. Well, so if you go through a VPN, it doesn't look like to Facebook that you're coming from the UK anymore, and so the UK won't ask you to show ID.
Right.
They're now going to regulate in the UK
the VPN service.
So the VPN providers have to ask for ID. Basically, is the idea. It sounds absolutely crazy. Because the only companies that are going to have to comply are companies that have like servers in the UK. Anybody else is basically going to just be able to ignore them. So you're going to. And the consequences of this is also kind of like dumb, right? In the sense that, think about it like this. You're going to end up forcing people to use free services that are not within the country anyway, and are going to be more dangerous. But, let's just say like people just don't use servers in the UK. It kind of like, what's the point of the bill at that point, right? Like,
so we give them enough time. I just want to put a pin in this really fast and go to the phones. We have a unscreened caller. You're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yes. Can somebody please tell Dave from Mexico that Free Talk Live may be a caller-driven show, but it's listener-supported?
You're bored by his call? Is that what it is? Oh, he hung up.
I think that's the gist of it.
Dave calls are hit and miss. Sometimes he's pretty entertaining. Sometimes. I wasn't very interested in the last call, but I thought Chris might be, so I let it go on for a bit.
I mean, honestly, I don't even use this. I mean, okay, so I have a cell phone that you can see from the video, but there's no SIM card in it, right? So I don't even use like a cell phone like you would think.
Yeah, like self-service.
Yeah, you just use them as like an iPod Touch.
Yeah, they're basically tracking devices, and there's people who call them trackers.
We should just start calling cell phones our tracking devices. Like, look it up on your tracking device.
It's basically... I mean, I don't want to go so far as saying it was a technology invented by the CEA to track everybody, but that's basically what it is in practice. So, I don't
know why you wouldn't want to go that far. It wouldn't surprise me, but
a lot of the technology has come out of government funding from that in like research and stuff like that. So like
the internet.
Yeah, the internet especially is an example.
Directly fed to our phones via the magic rectangles.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily that all this technology is terrible, but it's the cell phones in particular are particularly dangerous. They've got modem, so I actually understand how these things work. And there's basically this thing called firmware, and there's this thing called a modem basically in your cell phone. And that modem, the firmware for the modem part can be remotely updated by the cellular provider, and the government can basically order the cellular provider to basically put a bug in, so like it then updates the firmware on the modem, and then once the modem's updated, it has generally on most phones it has access to the rest of the device.
Wow.
So like any kind of encryption that you do on your phone is totally futile.
Whoa.
And I don't want to say that it's totally futile, because it's not, in the sense that they're not going to be doing this to every single person's cell phone probably.
Yeah.
But
if you were targeted.
If you're targeted, yeah, the encryption is basically pointless. The encryption is fine when it comes to sort of stifling mass surveillance, maybe. But as far as like, if you're a targeted individual, yeah, it doesn't. You're basically being anybody who's advertising.
It just depends. I could see where it's
malicious,
like,
kind of.
How targeted are you? Like if the Manchester police try to track your phone and it's encrypted and they hit a wall and they don't have access to like the NSA's ability.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
do
so I do have a pretty good understanding of some of this stuff. So your government agents, even at much higher level, not your local law enforcement, they don't have access to this kind of technology, right?
They might request that the higher ups do it.
Possibly, but they're not going to use something like this against you and me, generally speaking. I mean, maybe, possibly, but probably. All right, so most people they're not going to use this against, like some random criminal. But the type of people they will use this against in particular are drug kingpins, especially like in Mexico. The vice chancellor of Germany, they probably used this against not that long ago. It was a public case.
It's Pegasus, right? Isn't that what it's called?
That was one of the names for
the same
surveillance system. Yeah, I don't know specifically.
Is it not the firmware?
Entangles. I don't necessarily think that is connected to this necessarily. Specifically, there's very little information out there though on this, like these backdoors basically into our phones. But it's just like the way the technology works. And the other thing is like the FCC, the Federal Communication Commission, actually prohibits the source code release for the firmware that goes into the modems for what's used in these devices. So there's like ways, there's hacks to sort of turn your modem off on some phones. There's something called the Pine phone. If you want a device that actually like you actually can be like protect yourself against some of this. And basically the Pine phone has a little what are called dip switches. You probably haven't heard of these unless you're like living in the 80s or
I've
early
heard
90s.
Of the Pine phone, but not the dip
yeah,
switch.
So basically
only
the dip switch. These dip switches basically disconnect the power from the modem part. Mm-hmm. Most phones, it's all integrated, so you can't even do this with. But with the Pine phone, they use separate modem from the like sort of the rest of the device. So like that's basically the only device out there, other than one other product that's from a company that's very malicious. So I won't recommend there. I won't even mention his name. But basically, Pine phone is like one of the few devices on the market that you can actually, if you want, actually have like some sort of secure communication with. Pretty much everything else is potentially backdoored. Like if I was the vice president of the vice chancellor of Germany,
can the Pine phone's modem not get updated? If I have the switch on,
it can.
Then they can update it.
In theory,
cooked, right?
They should be able to update that, but you could turn the modem off so they can't track you.
So basically. They can't read what's going on your phone.
And because the memory is separate, the modem can't read the memory of the main core device. So
that makes sense because you compartmentalize the memory.
Exactly.
Oh, I see what's going on.
Yeah, and that's what makes it basically the most potentially secure device in the world.
See, this was more interesting to me than the whole satellite.
Yeah, right.
But more Free Talk Live is at freetalklive.com. Thanks for listening. Peace.
This hour of Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is the cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. In addition to being one of the world's first cryptocurrencies, Dash was the first crypto project to have a decentralized autonomous organization that to this day continues to improve and promote Dash. Every month, 10% of the mining rewards go into a treasury. Anyone with one Dash to spend can put forward a proposal to the Dash masternodes. The masternodes vet the proposals and decide which ones move forward and are funded by that treasury. Nowadays, DAOs are plentiful, but Dash paved the way by doing it first nearly a decade ago. Dash is one of the oldest cryptocurrencies and is widely available on exchanges, including the decentralized Maya protocol, and in multi-crypto wallets. It's easy to get and use Dash. Start by learning more at dash.org. Thanks to the Dash DAO for sending us 32 Dash per month to promote Dash on the air. Visit dash.org to learn about Dash. Dash.org.
Eleutheromania. The insatiable desire for freedom. We have been enslaved for all our lives. It's the new 3-song heavy metal EP from Captain Kickass. Available now on your favorite music app or get it directly from CaptainKickass.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Coming up next after the news, Hour 1 of the latest episode of Free Talk Live here at listen.freetalklive.com.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Tony Waterman. According to New York Times sources, President Donald Trump is reviewing an option to send American forces into Iran to carry out raids. It's unclear if those raids would target government officials or even the supreme leader. The option carries new weight after U.S. forces captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro earlier this month. A strike fleet has already been positioned near Iran, and U.S. officials say the military is ready to carry out any orders from the president. Trump is demanding Iran end its nuclear program and stop killing demonstrators if it wants to avoid U.S. military action. Iran's foreign minister said on Friday that Tehran will not negotiate under threat and that its defense system will never be up for negotiation. President Trump has nominated Kevin Warsh, a banking executive, to head the U.S. Central Bank. Warsh was widely expected to secure the nod and is believed to share the president's desire to see U.S. interest rates fall more rapidly. FSN's Simon Marks reports.
President Trump has been hinting for days at the possibility that Kevin Warsh is his choice to replace Jerome Powell as the chairman of the Fed. Now he's confirmed it. Over his social media account, the president said he expects Mr. Warsh to go down as one of the great Fed chairmen, maybe the best. The president described his selection as coming from central casting, a possible reference to Mr. Warsh's clean-cut professional appearance, but also to his background. He's a former Fed governor and a senior figure at the investment bank Morgan Stanley. Certainly President Trump is hoping that Mr. Warsh will prove loyal to his demands for lower interest rates, though when the president's selection faces confirmation hearings on Capitol Hill, many lawmakers will want to know whether he's willing to protect the central bank's independence or make it a political arm of the Trump administration.
Former CNN anchor Don Lemon is in custody after being arrested in connection with his reporting during the recent Minneapolis ICE protests. The 59-year-old's lawyer says Mr. Lemon has done nothing wrong and insists he is protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. FSN's Mitch McCann reports.
The charges that the Justice Department chose to file were not immediately clear, but Don Lemon's lawyer says they will be fought vigorously in court. The former TV anchor was arrested in Los Angeles on Thursday, where he was there to cover the Grammy Awards. It's reported the arrest is in relation to Mr. Lemon's coverage of an ICE protest that took place inside a Minneapolis church in recent weeks. It's reported that following the protest, a federal judge initially declined to sign off on an arrest warrant for Mr. Lemon. Former colleagues and lawmakers have defended the broadcaster.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, ending the week with a very sober warning about the rapidity of developments in the field of artificial intelligence. A new poll this week showed that more than a quarter of all workers in Britain fear they will lose their jobs to AI in the next 5 years. And this week alone, Amazon announced a further 16,000 job losses, mainly in America, because of AI. This was the week when Geoffrey Hinton, the so-called godfather of AI, predicted that virtually every single job on the planet is going to be replaced by the industry that he now regrets having sparked.
Already we're seeing starting jobs in many professions like lawyers being taken over by AI. Most experts believe that sometime within the next 20 years, quite possibly within 10 years, we'll have superintelligence, something better than us, and that will be able to do any new job that's created. It'll be all of them. The big tech companies are thinking, if we can be the first to get really good AI, human-level AI, we can make a lot of money selling AI to companies so that they can replace workers. As far as I can see, that's the only place they can get their huge investments back. They're not thinking about the social consequences of that. They're assuming somehow the state will take care of it, but I don't see how it can.
What does all that mean for youngsters trying to position themselves for the future? Geoffrey Hinton's got ideas for them, and you'll hear those on Monday.
And a recap of today's headlines. The New York Times is reporting that President Trump is reviewing an option to send U.S. troops into Iran for targeted raids. President Trump has nominated banking exec Kevin Warsh to head the U.S. Central Bank. Like Trump, Warsh says interest rates should be lower. Former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with his reporting during Minneapolis ICE protests. That's Feature Story News' Tony Waterman reporting.
If you're the parent of a man-child, you know how frustrating it can sometimes be. The piercing sound of his video games waking you up at 2 a.m. His insatiable hunger and inability to cook anything for himself. The messes he makes. The stress can be overwhelming.
Something will set them off, such as their man-child will tell them that they don't know how to tie a tie even though they're almost 30. They'll start shaking them and yelling and saying, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why don't you get a real job instead of working part-time at a board game store?"
The results of shaken man-child syndrome are devastating. Trauma caused by the brain colliding with the inside of the man-child's skull can lead to cognitive disabilities, making it even more unlikely he'll finally marry the girl he's been having a long-distance online relationship with for 6 years. Or it can even lead to death.
He's not spilling cereal all over the couch or leaving his beard clippings in the bathroom sink intentionally. He truly does not know what he's doing.
For the Lab Report, I'm Stuart Adams.
This is the Onion News Network.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live.
Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Angelo.
Free it, we'll talk it live. This is Riley O'Bill.
Free it, we'll talk it live. We'll talk it live.
That's
I don't know
right.
if you said it like that. I don't know if you said it like that, right?
No, I didn't say it exactly like that, but maybe I should have.
Well, the other day on Twitter, I saw a tweet where somebody said that the robots are scheming against us, and they put this picture of a forum where apparently robots are talking amongst each other like AIs. I don't know if I believe it, because anyone could go on AI and say, "Hey, write this thing that looks like you're plotting against us."
Oh yeah,
and
it's easy to do these days.
I was literally 15 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with one of my best friends, and sometimes we'll just get on the phone and just talk to each other for like 2 hours because we live on other sides of the country. So we'll just like, do a catch up. And he was talking to me. We got onto the subject of YouTube. And he hit me with a crazy idea. He thinks YouTube has already been under the control of an AI for quite some time. And that's why the shadow banning, and it almost seems like arbitrary. Like I'll comment something and I can see it, but nobody else can. And I'll comment the same kind of comment on a different post and it'll pop up and it'll be visible.
Huh. Interesting.
What do you mean how do you know you're the only one that can see your comment on a YouTube?
Well, I can't prove it, but it just, I mean, I'm not saying anything like that outlandish, and there'll be like other comments that get interactions, and I can still see my comment that was posted like on my end, but it's obviously not showing up to other people because other people are saying the exact same things I am, and then they'll get responses. Does that make sense? It'll be like a arbitrary shadow ban.
Yeah, I've always thought that the comment section on YouTube is weird. So, like, to your point, I comment on something and I feel that, I'm commenting like super late. There's probably, if I was this YouTuber, I would have like muted responses or, muted, not be checking at least the comments by now. And for some reason, I'll get like tons of likes on there, which is like, doesn't even matter because it's YouTube. Like, you're not, to me, it's not social media. To me, it's like, you barely know who anybody else is. I mean, there's no way to know. And it's not like you get paid like Twitter if you get likes. But it's just something I've noticed. And then every once in a while, I'm like, oh, this video just got posted. And I have something like really relevant and enlightening to say. And like, just no one ever likes it at all. And like, yeah, people who commented around the same time are saying, but I've always just kind of thought people are dumb.
Well, I think people are.
They're just
that
like
just
the
works
most
to
obvious
well,
things.
he just kind of posited the idea that like we have access to ChatGPT and like these large language models, but we've had access to other stuff probably for a while, and it just kind of begins as a large language model, like how Google kind of trained their AI at first with like search results, like top search results, was kind of like the beginnings of like the LLMs. And my friend was just saying it feels like something they kind of integrated an AI into YouTube maybe around like 2019 that's just completely destroyed it, and that's why YouTube's like unusable because the AI is out of their control, and if they take it out, it's like ingrained itself into the DNA of the website.
There are also AI channels on YouTube that are actually, I can hear that they're done by AI.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, how on earth did you get on YouTube?
And they have 300,000 views on the video.
I know. It's like, what the heck is going on here? It's like they're promoting the AI videos.
Why are you specifically saying that it's unusable? Like, I've used YouTube.
Well, not unusable. It's just that the YouTube of today compared to like 2010 is totally different. It's been I think it's been co-opted.
Well, of course
there's been like
co-opted.